I'm the best, man. I did it.
Cursed to live a life stuck between man and monster, Dinosaur Man is a stranger in a strange land filled with danger and excitement. Fighting the beast within to become a hero is no easy task. Joining him on his quest is Spaz, a cute and cunning cat person, and the beautiful Telexis, a warrior slave girl with a troubled story of her own. A cavalcade of odd, alluring, and downright evil characters awaits our heroes. Read the webtoon today on these fine platforms. You and your kids will love it.
Educated guess, I'd say that man is alive.
Come with me and see what I see. The terrible worlds that lie between. The realm observed and the realms unseen, where the dark things live while you dream. Unconditional Shove, the new horror sci-fi graphic novel anthology series, featuring 2 stories and over 80 pages of compelling, action-packed, terrifying fun. Unconditional Shove Volume 1, a graphic novel for all you lovers of the strange, macabre, and creepy things that we all know exist in the shadows of our universe. Unconditional Shove, back it today on Indiegogo.
The brave hero conquers the diabolical villain and rescues the damsel in distress. But this is real life, and in real life,
Stories don't always have happy endings. Frog G, the story of a man turned into a frog by a voodoo priestess sent on a mission to kill a god by death itself. Now our hero must roam the underworld to regain his humanity and win back the woman he loves.
Swift, fearless, deadly. These are the men of the Military Assistance Command. They do the jobs the others don't dare to. Trained in the lethal arts. You'll never see them coming. But if you're lucky, you might just hear them rocking. Now, to regain their freedom, they have to take out the assassin clan. that made them the Rock and Roll Ninja. Get your copy today.
Yo, Nippon Ichi!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your man Jay. Thanks for tuning in to another weekly art jam. Today, you know what I'm thinking? I think we just work on our own stuff. I've been brainstorming a lot, working on a personal project, and I think the best way in order to get the hype out there for it and or the interest for it, or just to get more eyes on it, will be to work on it in front of you guys. The project that I'm working on, I'm kind of building this world. It's kind of like a sci-fi, fantasy sci-fi merger type thing. It's way too deep to go into, but I've been building this world. So if I want to do a comic book, if I want to do a kids book, if I want to do anything like that, I can go ahead and do it based on the rules that I'm setting in this world. And that's the stuff that I'm gonna be working on when you see me on the channel. So the first project that I'm working on is really, it's gonna be a kids book, but it's gonna be one of the, I say it's a kids book, but it's gonna be a family story that anybody can read. I'm not sure how long it's gonna be. It's gonna be a simple story with a moral at the end, and probably something that you can maybe read your kids at bedtime, or it could be one sitting, or depending how long or how deep I get into it, it might be like, you know, a 2 or 3 day bedtime story type thing, maybe 2 chapters or something like that. But that's what I'm going to be working on. And if you have seen the stuff that I was working on, I think I was drawing this morning or yesterday morning. I think it was yesterday morning. Let's go ahead and show what we got here. So I have these little robot gnomes. I call them ohms. And I've been working on concept stuff for them. And these ohms, they live in different biomes, different environments. And what they do is that they live and cultivate those environments. So you'll have ohms living in the forest, you'll have ohms living in the jungle, you'll have ohms living in the deserts, even in the Arctic, which is what this design was for, what I'm working on right now, and what they do and things like that. So pretty much what the ohms do is they take care of the environments that they're in. So if, let's say, they're living in a forest and they might need some kind of bug there, what they'll do is plant a flower to attract that bug to help the ecosystems. They cultivate these ecosystems. And so I was designing, this is an Arctic one. I have a few other designs that I've already done, and all this stuff pertaining to this world, I'm not sure it exists, but I'm calling it now. I'm calling this Terrapunk. And what that means is that the world itself is very different. It's too deep to go into. It stems off of one thing and how the world works. But I have other designs for the ohms and stuff in here, and everything that goes pertaining to this world, I've been putting in a portfolio with notes. So I know the rules of the stuff that I create, because I'm always getting these ideas and why I'm creating things, and to actually have notes of how I can remember stuff and the way this world works. So I'm calling it Terrapunk. I don't want to call it steampunk. There's some steampunk aspects to it, but I'm thinking more industrialized, like World War II era tech, not like Victorian fancy smanchy tech, along with like magic and geodes and stuff. Yeah, the gnomes, yes. So let me go ahead and start highlighting this stuff here. I want to thank Dragon Pisces for popping by and hanging out. That's awesome, dude. The gnomes are also robots. Yes, I call them ohms, O-H-M. And they're robotic gnomes, pretty much. So that's the easiest thing to compare them to. They're about 3 feet tall, and they were all maintenance droids from the time before that were brought back to life through magic. And again, because they were maintenance droids, they would fix things. They were gardeners. There was all this type of stuff that they would do. That's kind of naturally what they do. So they live in these different environments and cultivate these ecosystems and just make sure everything's running fine. That's kind of their job, and they also can repair things very well. The thing about it is that these ohms, to us, to people, they're a legend. People don't really think they exist. Sometimes people see them, but it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like if you saw a fairy or if you saw like a Sasquatch or something like that. But in this world, magic does exist. Mana exists, earth magic, energy from the earth. That stuff does exist. So along with the technology being World War I era, similar stuff like that, magic does exist. So we're gonna have fairies, we're gonna have sprites, we're gonna have stuff like that in it. But the first project that I will be working on, and I'm working on, is a family story, revolving around these ohms, pertaining mainly one ohm that I designed. I've drawn him a few times. Widget, he's the main guy, and his story, he's gonna go on a journey, come across some trial and tribulations, conquer his fear, and everybody reading learns a nice little lesson, especially the kiddos and stuff like that. But it's going to be all ages, family friendly, and it's going to be a book with awesome pictures is the idea. So I'm going to be working on that stuff now in front of you guys, just so the audience can see the stuff that I'm working on. And I don't know, I just feel like that's kind of cooler, and it'll build the hype for what I'm working on. So, well, we got some guests in the back. Let's go ahead and start bringing them out before they leave and be like, this is boring. I thought they popped back there, but I guess it went away. Huh. I heard them, but I'm not seeing them. Maybe I have to resend the link, maybe? Let's see. I heard some stuff pop on back there. A noise, but... well, we'll just keep on going. So we're going to be working on stuff. Oh, no, Billy. Billy, no, Billy. I didn't see a link. I posted it. I'll just go ahead and shoot it to you. I posted it in the chat and on the Discord, but I'll just go ahead and let's add it. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's acting wonky. I'll just send it directly to you on the Twatters, on the Twattersphere. Meow, meow, meow. And it's the Streamlabs now. It's not Melon. Melon got bought out by Streamlabs, so now it's Streamlabs Talk Studio. So if you're wondering where that stuff, that's Melon, pretty much is what it is. So, whoa. Let me check it. My phone's dinging. I better take a look at that. Or people are messaging me like, "Hey, man, let me in, homeboy." We got that going. Let's see what's going on here. I did post a link in the Twitter. All right, put it there. All right, put it there. All right. While I'm farting around with this stuff, let's go ahead and bring out another guest on real quick. Let's hide that. I don't want to be big. And we'll bring out Mr. Odin Dasco. Odin, what is up, my man?
Not much. How you been, man?
All right, man. You've been busy, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm always busy, but
yeah. Is it a?
But yeah, the last
busy?
2 weeks I just wasn't able to make it, man.
That's cool, man. Really, nobody came last week besides Jason. Jason probably felt bad for me. He's like, "Let me hop in there with this guy."
It's like it was a pity jump in. Well,
it was a pity jump in. Yeah, I was
that's
doing,
still cool. I couldn't even do that
and stuff too.
Oh,
Dragon
yeah.
Pisces is here. Hey, Dragon, what is up, man? He says, "Odin, how's it going?"
Hey, it's DP. It's been a long time since I've seen
I
his name
know.
floating around.
No
so
kidding,
I
man.
hope you're doing good, bro. Good to see you.
Let's see. Did we put that in links? All right, I'm dropping it in links for show description. Let's do that, Billy. So Billy can hop in. Yeah, Streamlabs bought out Melon, so it's not Melon anymore.
Yeah, it took me a sec because I had to redo everything because I was, before I could just jump in. It remembered
and now
Yeah.
it's like all new. So it's like, who are you? What are you trying to do here? I'm like, you know me.
You know me,
They didn't know me.
and you know this, man. So what you been working on, dude? Oh, let me show you, man. I got my copy today.
Oh yeah.
My
You know,
copy came in, dude.
I touched it because I sent it out.
Yeah. It smells like Odin.
yeah. Full essence on there.
That was cool. I thumbed through it real quick, but I'm gonna take my time to read it.
I think you're really gonna enjoy it. It's a fun book. Definitely leaves a lot of open-ended questions in the right kind of way because you're like, oh, I'm in and I want to see where it's going. So I think you're gonna love it. Yeah.
Oh, Dragon got his copy too.
Oh yeah, I didn't know. Well, because he's when he backed it, he didn't use the name Dragon Pisces. So I'm like, oh, it was one of those names that I sent out.
As a normal person would, you know what I mean?
Well, a lot of people go by their real name and they use a pseudonym online, and you're like, you don't know who's who. And sometimes it's the pseudonym, they just use that when they back, and you're like, okay, fair enough.
Cool. Yeah, no, I noticed that too. Like I was like, General Piggy bought some stuff, and I was like, I already did the because I had his address from before, so I just put, and he gave me his name, but I already had it addressed to General Piggy. So I'm like, well, there you go, man.
Well, you do it long enough, someone like General Piggy, Dragon Pisces. It's like that's what everyone knows you as. The two become synonymous.
Yeah.
What's up, Billy?
Billy, what is up, my man? Jumping from one stream to the next, man. He's all over the internet.
Over the place.
And Bar should be like, where the fuck is Bar at?
I don't know, man. But you know what, man? The comic show was really good today.
Yeah, I only caught the tail end, the very tail end.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Oh, the We Talking Comics?
Yeah. That was good, man.
I thought it was pretty good too. Like
Yeah.
it was a cool, like we went for an hour and a half and we were like super focused on the topic, but still
Loose.
brought some side stuff in, like at one point we just had to stop and be like, okay, well, this is a good choice in this top 15. Let's actually look at some comics from that. And fucking Chad had like fucking a bunch of so weird. You look all weird, Odin.
It's because of Melon.
No. Well, you changed. Did you get a haircut and you partially changed facial hair again?
The mustache is gone.
Okay, mustache. I know. I feel like two things happened at once on both sides of your head or something.
Well, yeah. One time I looked like John Travolta, and now I look like Nick Cage.
He was like, in the somewhere in the middle, he was looking. Yeah, one time in the middle, he was looking like Doc Holliday too.
Right. Well, I mean,
That's true.
That's yeah. Well, I mean, and I think on top of that, it was trippy seeing that tweet of yours today from like 2014 because that was kind of cool. I'm like, oh, look at cool guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I was looking at that. I'm like, man, I was
his camo shorts and shit. Like, I would have sported that. I feel that right there.
I was just about to take the stage. Actually, I was like watching another band play, and we were about to jump on and play ourselves. So.
Nice,
Yeah,
Mr. Matt Barr.
That's when I did that shit. What's up, Matt?
We were just talking about how good.
How good I give the D? I know.
How good.
I lay that shit on thin.
Oh God, I can't remember the name of all your shows.
Thin and light. You don't even know it's there.
In and out like a bank robber.
Like a gangster.
Subtlety is nice.
I can't remember the name of all your shows. What was the name of the one we did today? We Talking
Talking
Comics?
comics.
Okay, we talking comics.
Comics.
Okay, yeah.
That's a cool title.
Let me tell you what we talking. We talking
went-
comics.
It went really cool today, I thought. I think it went.
Yeah.
And Jay was saying it went really well too, so that's good from like an outside
enjoyed it.
perspective here.
I enjoyed it.
That's
Dragon
what
Pisces
As soon as I was off, I was like, okay, how did I sound? What did we do? What's the next subject? What's the next topic for next? Just trying to make it a little better each time.
It's going to be like a regular show, though, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Sweet.
Awesome.
So if you want to hop on, man, you're always welcome to hop on there.
Sure. Yeah, it's a little early. I was like
I
driving
need
home
people
from work.
on here.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why some of the shows are bi-weekly and some of them are going to be weekly. So like whatever one, like the schedule is pinned in the Discord, so you should check it out.
Dragon Pisces asks, when we're talking about Doc Holliday, like the mustache, or was he sick like Doc Holliday? It was like the mustache.
The
It
mustache.
was like the mustache. Yeah. I was
Well,
just
actually,
drinking like Doc Holliday.
And
too.
I was gonna say, yeah, you were rolling around with a little tiny tin cup that you'd fucking spin on your fucking hand when you came on stream.
What was that called? The consumption? The consumption. He's dying from the consumption.
The consumption. Yeah, man.
Did you see the?
I have
like
certain
the translations
proclivities
of
for-
latum. Yeah, he knows Latin. I hate him, honey. Yeah, like that.
I think
like,
I hate him.
I think I hate him. When
Yep,
they do
I
the
hate him.
translation of all that Latin, they're not even really like talking to each other. They're just like quoting shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but that was the West, man.
Yeah. I mean,
You're
if
lucky
I was like,
really
oh
do.
shit, are they like talking to each other in Latin? And it's like, nah, they're just like calling out like lines from a fucking movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
you know
know
that movie.
Domini.
Yeah, fuck you.
Like I heard that somewhere.
They're like sitting there like fucking quoting Star Wars. That's what that shit would be like today. You're just quoting Star Wars lines back to each other and shit.
Dude,
The
Star
Force
Wars
is
in Latin.
with you. Mm,
But that's cool.
okay. I've got a bad feeling about this. Oh shit. Okay.
He's
Dude,
no
the
good to
one-
me dead. Oh
The
fuck.
one
Oh,
revelation
fuck.
that like we
Now
kind
I
of came
definitely
to
hate
when
him.
we were showing off the comics tonight, like the fact that and I'm still trying to think of one like since then because it was kind of like a brain bug, like that Luke Cage is the only comic book hero that I can think of where he had his real name and his superhero name on the cover of the comic. It said Luke Cage, Power Man.
Power Man.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's a good
Pipe
question.
layer.
Yep. And then when the comic turned to Power Man and Iron Fist, they didn't go to an issue 1. Like Iron Fist just got second billing, and like the numbers just kept going. I was
Yeah.
just like, nice. that's some Black Dynamite shit right
I
there.
know you're like,
Yeah.
you're going on 50 issues. Power Man and Iron Fist. Damn.
It's like back at the bus.
I know
I'm kinda
you
fine
can
number
I'll
one.
let you on my
Can't
book,
find
but you
it.
get second billing. But yeah, I mean, like the only one I can think of is like there might have been a Spider-Man at one point that was like Peter Parker's Spider-Man or some shit like that. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But like that, it didn't start off that way, you know.
Right.
Look
Right. That would be like some mini series or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to sound racist, but is it the same guy from John Wick 4? Is that the same guy from Rogue Squadron? I'm one with the Force and Force is with me.
Oh, right.
You mean,
Oh, you're talking about
yeah,
Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Johnny Yen's in 4,
Not
isn't he?
different.
Yeah.
He's
Like, I always gotta have him play a fucking blind guy.
yeah, he plays a blind guy again, but I was just like, okay, they kind
Why
of
is
look
that-
alike,
why
but
is
then
that
I don't want to feel like an asshole and be like, well, I don't know, they kind of look alike, but then I'm like, well, I can't imagine an actor being like, yeah, I'll do a a blind role again, even though I'm not blind at all.
Yeah, I
he's
mean
getting
they
typecast.
dude, they
Right?
screwed up so bad not giving him a fucking lightsaber and making him a Jedi, dude. Like, I don't understand what the hell they were doing.
Oh yeah. I've heard your
Yes.
I've heard you argue this.
Every tried.
Why doesn't he have a lightsaber?
Dude, it's like you have like Jackie Chan in the peak of his Jackie Chan-ness, right? Do like a superhero movie and then you don't make him a superhero.
You make him a
Well,
quadriplegic or something.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to
Oh,
show
Death Row number
off
2.
that he didn't need the lightsaber to be a badass. It was like, dude, no lightsaber requirement.
Better
for
he
him.
would have been if he
Totally.
had the
It-
lightsaber. Like,
Well,
holy
I mean,
fuck.
exactly, and I think that was a little. I mean, to me, that's what it kind of felt the point. It's just like, dude, homeboy doesn't even have a lightsaber, and he's a better like fucking Jedi than fucking 80% of the
Yeah,
Jedis we've
everyone.
seen on screen. You know,
Didn't even make him a Jedi. That was bullshit. He should have been
Well,
a
that's
Jedi.
the thing. Yeah, he's not even
he
an
should have
actual
been a Jedi.
Jedi.
Yeah,
He
he's not
just
even a
uses the
Jedi.
Force.
They should have made him a freaking Jedi.
And
like,
he
nah, I'm
was
just
so
here guarding
into
rock.
the Force.
At least
It's-
like on the DL, like it would have been nice if I'm gonna rewrite it just for a second, at least his part. you write him out that he's like a Jedi on the DL. You know that he's like,
or you give him a redemption, man. You give him a Force ghost. Have him show up again, like, oh, I actually was one with the Force. Look at me, I'm a fucking Force ghost. What up, Yoda?
They'd be like, oh, I'm this drunk guy on the street. You know, you could almost do like a drunken master thing where it's like, I lost my eyes at Order 66, and I'm blind. But then at some point, like, you know, at the end, he like gets his the lightsaber back, you know, and he's like rocking the lightsaber as like a blind guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that staff was gonna be he's gonna bust out a lightsaber out of that staff. He's like, all right, y'all, like I've been in hiding, but it's time for me to bust out the super moves because we're getting our asses beat and we need the plan for the Death Star. He's like, nah, man, let me just go over here and turn this switch, and then I get blown up. Like,
yeah, it was bullshit. Because I would have liked to see him go against Vader. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, he has a lightsaber. Okay, well then how come we didn't see him in any movies after that? So you just say, oh, well, he was like one of the people that fought Vader at the end, and you know, maybe Vader cheated or did something and like kills him, you know?
Yeah, they keep trying to glamify Vader, like, and I understand it, but he was like this horrible bad guy. You know what I mean? And I know and that's what makes his like redemption so much better at the end was because of his son. You know, it's different when you're just murking people, but when it's like your kid, you know, you're like, dude, you know, it's different when your kids ask you to put the gun down. You're like, oh, okay. Like,
but who's giving out this fucking redemption? You know, like the stories that I've read of Vader, just chopping up Jedis, dude. Like, not even like, oh, and the younglings, like that stuff. But like, once he was Vader, like he went all out and was just like chopping up motherfuckers out there. So it's like, how far are you a redemption? You know, it's like,
yeah,
bro, you are so far in the red on your like ledger of evil that it's kind of hard.
Ledger of evil. I like
you
that.
know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, bro. Like you are so in the red, dude. That it's just
the ledger of evil.
Maybe they keep trying to play with it. He can like. Maybe that he was redeemed.
Check the ledger of evil. Put another entry in there for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's like one of those weird little religious things where it's like, oh, I've been redeemed of all my sins. But it's like, well, did you ask everybody that you sinned against? Like, did you like ask like, you know, maybe the planet that you scorched?
The parents of younglings,
yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, really, do you have like certified like letters from all those people that they've been like, you know what, I'm at peace with what Anakin Skywalker did to my family.
I've been pardoned.
You know?
Yeah, Uncle Owen and Aunt.
My ledger's wiped
clean. I was gonna say Marjorie, Aunt Marjorie. Are they okay being? Marjorie. This is sent those stormtroopers and they burnt you guys to the crisp. Like, you know, is that okay?
Yeah.
He tortured his own daughter.
Your half brother and his wife,
right?
Were fucking scorched under your command, bro. And you knew it because it's Tatooine. So what the fuck?
Yep.
Odin brings up a good thing. He interrogated and tortured his own fucking daughter.
Yeah. That was another thing. I was
Great job, Dad.
That's the bummer about the I am your father is that there's definitely some parts where you're like, he didn't know that. Like as soon as she touched him, he would have been like, Padme, you have the smell of Padme on you. You know what I mean?
Maybe because she didn't. You know, and Luke found out.
She was good at masking.
He knew that. Luke knew, maybe. You know, bitches be trifling, man. It's hard to get fucking answers out of them.
Bitches be trifling.
Yeah,
I like that excuse right there. You know, man, bitches be trifling.
No, man.
I think that there is like some like force abilities where it's like you're able to like shield your force use.
Yeah.
That's how Palpatine got through like not being noticed by the Jedi.
Right?
They didn't know that they didn't even realize that he was force sensitive.
Screwed fucking Yoda over. He's just like, dude.
Yeah, well, it was just like he was like naturally stealth in the force. Like that was just like a natural ability for him. So he was just like rolling around using it until until Darth Plagueis was like, "Yo, dude, I sense that shit."
Yeah,
Dude,
he was like
I saw it coming a mile away, man. He didn't fool me.
Dragon Ball Z when these guys are masking their true fucking fight power and shit.
He's masking his power.
Oh god, your numbers fucking billion.
He's not 5,000. He's 5 billion. But how?
Did you guys see the? Any of you guys watch The Mandalorian, the last season or the latest season of The Mandalorian?
Yes.
Nope.
Negative.
Of course, I did.
Once it
turned into in season 2, once it turned for me, anyways. Once I was like, yeah, this is Mandalorian. She wrote. I'm out.
I mean, honestly, like if they went the Mandalorian and then with like a black saber,
what's her face from actual Murder She Wrote, I wouldn't have even been surprised.
Yeah, when
Angela Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury.
Another helmet comes off and it's that dude from fucking Columbo.
One more thing before Grogu.
Let me ask you one more question.
Yes.
You say you knew where the killer was at the time, but
take another helmet off and it's the fucking judge from Night Court.
One more thing. This is the way.
Dick Van Dyke from what was the one?
Mr. Skywalker, you said you knew that she wasn't your sister when you kissed her at the time, but
you say you didn't know, but I
force sleep.
Yeah, I think
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it.
The word Mandalorian going across the screen, and then with like a dark saber, it like slashes an S at the end of it.
Well, that show got so weird too, because it was like basically it was like they did Boba Fett, and then Boba Fett petered out and became kind of the Mandalorian, and it was just like.
I think Mandalorian came out first.
It did, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it was weird that because the Mandalorian should have always been the Book of Boba Fett. To me, in my eyes, in the beginning, it should I'm not whatever with that Mandalorian. Like, we all wanted to see a Boba Fett fucking show, not necessarily a fucking. And then they brought the Boba Fett show out, and it sucked. And then they just turned it into back into the Mandalorian, which was like. I
think they didn't know what to do with Boba Fett. I think that was the biggest problem with that, because I got the vibe they didn't know what to do with him.
To make him a badass, dude.
They just kept putting him in the fucking back to tank and shit.
Like, I can't have Slave One. That's fucking problematic. Like, whatever.
You have him in the back to tank, like while he's going like back to fucking bounty hunting.
I don't know why
as soon as he got his armor back. He's like, I'm getting in my fucking ship and I'm getting the fuck off this stupid sandy piece of shit planet. Dude, no, he's like, I'm gonna stay here and fuck some chicks and maybe hang out. Like, what?
Yeah, the only family that I knew was murdered and I couldn't save them. But I'm gonna stick around on this damn desert ball and try to become like the Tsar. Yeah. Like, I was like, okay. Like, I get, okay, so these people bring him in, the sand people and shit. And I'm like, all right, maybe he wants to become like you to protect this territory, to protect his people, because the sand people are
not even people. Like Boba Fett, dude, would be like, oh, I can fucking run this shit. I can have my own little fiefdom, Like, he wouldn't be like, I'm here to help these people. He'd be like, yeah, I'm here to be a fucking mini crime boss and stake out a claim for myself.
Well, here's one thing that was interesting, and I've
been through shit. It's time to retire and think about fucking how can I support myself going forward?
How do I support this fucking gut?
Yeah, he said it briefly of he was like, we don't need in bounty hunters. He's like, we don't need anybody to hire us. Like, he was like that. He was like kind of going along this thing of like, oh, so he wants to grab all the bounty hunters, almost like Metal Gear. Like what Metal Gear or whatever, we're like in Metal Gear, they all the private contract guys, they get together and Solid or whatever Venom Snake starts getting all these guys together to make their own army, so they don't have to answer to anybody, and they decide what contracts and shit that they want to do. So they want to become their own entity pretty much, and that's what I thought. Like, he mentions it. And I was like, okay, so he was going to make like a guild of fucking bounty hunters that didn't have to answer to nobody. And I was like, okay, like, that's cool, because at first I thought he wanted to I'm going to become leader of this territory to protect my people. but then they all get smoked. So I'm like, okay. Then he's like, well, we don't have to follow no rules. We could answer to ourselves. I'm like, okay. So he's gonna like create like this guild of bounty hunters and shit, right? This badass guild of bounty hunters that'll just go and choose jobs.
Nowhere near that cool.
No, he's just like, I'm here. Hey, everybody. I don't think they knew what to do with the guy. I think it was another show, and I feel like they just fucking put Boba Fett in it. I don't think it was Boba Fett's show to begin with. I think it was something
Billy
else that
hit
they
it on the
cobbled
head.
together. You know.
He said they didn't want to make him a badass. They're afraid to make him what he should be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never
Right.
understood what the problem with Slave 1 was in the beginning. It's just like Anakin and his mom were slaves. They say it like right, like they were slaves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's part of the world.
I know.
Not a good part of the world. It's just reality.
Yeah, it was fucked up. That's why he was like all scarred and shit and fucked up in the head. Like, remember, like that's why he went back and killed all the fucking Saiyan people and shit. Because like shit was fucked up. Like if you
That's why he didn't
have,
bring balance to the Force. Because
Yeah,
he's
well,
all
it's
fucked
like
up
if you-
from being a slave.
if you can't have like, if you can't have bad people, how are you supposed to show a contrast? You know,
Right, but they wanted to make him a hero. They wanted him to be a star.
Yeah.
And it's like he already is a star. Just lean into the character.
Yeah.
Make him who he is.
I mean, they didn't make. I mean, there's this little show. I don't know if you guys have heard it before. It's called The Sopranos. Has anybody watched it or heard of it?
I have no idea
They're
which-
like I've heard that the main character is actually like a crime lord. But like people like fucking love him for some reason. It's like weird. It's like the writers were able to like write like a character that has like all these like really bad flaws to the point that like he like tortures and like kills people like a legit crime boss and stuff. But like people like seem to love him and stuff. If you haven't seen the show, you should check it out. It's pretty dope.
Well, and, to that point, it's not like that was the first time that's ever been done either.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the idea. Is like you can show the conflict of a character who's even a bad character.
Yeah, and you can
And make
always
it
have
endearing.
them. You can always have them do a face turn. You know what I mean? That's what's kind of the coolest thing. Even like in, they do it all the time in characters. They do it all the time in pro wrestling and shit like that. You know what I mean? You have a badass dude, right?
And no matter what he does, he has his convictions that he sticks to. And then what you do is you grab somebody that's worse and put them in the path of the bad guy. And the bad guy doing his normal bad shit becomes the good guy because the other guy is worse.
Yeah.
And dude, it's like
that was
built-
Macho Man.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, Macho Man. Macho Man was fucking Macho Man 24/7. And depending who you put him against, he was either the heel or the baby face. He's either the good guy or the bad guy.
Both easily.
Yeah,
And
you know what I
because
mean?
he was
It's
so
like-
cool and badass because he was always him.
Yeah.
He didn't have to worry what Macho Man you get.
Well, I mean, and it was like built into the character. Like it's just like you'd be like, oh well, why is he bad now? And he might have like had a good side. It's like, well, dude, when you're cloned a billion times and then like the clone of you like fucking creates a fucking political revolution, it might fuck with your head a little bit. You know, it might. And then if they take your son from, the only one that you thought was your son, when they clone your dad, a billion times. And it creates a political revolution, and then your dad, they fucking just straight off like, yeah, that's gonna fuck with your fucking head, dude.
I thought what I was hoping what they were gonna do is again make it like a crime, like how you see the crime of the galaxy work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or he was gonna be like,
I know, dude, all kinds of Jabba the Hutt or just Hutts, the Hutt family shit. Like, oh
Guys,
man.
I got a boogie real quick. I'm
all
sorry.
right, sounds good, man.
All right, guys, have a good night.
Bitch.
Yeah, check in the private chat. You'll see why.
All right. What's he got going on? We're all like,
Good reason.
Oh, okay. That's not even juicy. God, that's fucking. I didn't even need to look at that.
I was hoping we
juicier
were
than
gonna
what he
get
let
like we're gonna get like Unforgiven, but with fucking space bounty hunters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and that's basically what it should have been. Right?
Yeah, but they're like, no, he has to do this or something. I mean, granted, I'm all for people changing. There's, you know what I mean? Especially if, maybe he was like doing shit with the Mandalorian, and then he was like, oh man, like maybe I've been doing the wrong thing or.
Well, it's
whatever.
one thing to change, but like you have to set that up and
Yeah.
write it out.
Yeah,
you know, like you can't just like bring him in with all the excitement and be like, he's different though. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a little different.
Even have everybody. My issue was that everybody around him fucking did everything. That's the problem.
Well, and I will always say that as a kid, he was the coolest character for no particular reason. You know, like you watch those.
Well,
original
it was
three,
two. It was two reasons. It was two reasons, and it stands true to this day. He had a cool fucking mask.
The costume.
And he had a jetpack.
Jetpack and a badass ship.
I mean, you put a cool helmet on a guy and a jetpack, it's like hard not to like that character.
Yeah.
Well, and he was the only one with that kind of with a jetpack, and he was the only one with like that particular aesthetic looking helmet. So it was like kind of in this world of aliens and humans.
Because I was really into all the bounty hunters, like especially like I was always a really big IG-88 fan. Like I was like, oh, dude, he's just because he was just so awkward looking. I'm like, how can that little spindly, tall, weird thing with eyes on a pole be like a badass bounty hunter?
Walking stick.
Yeah,
or like freaking even like Bosick, dude, or even like the guy with all the bandages and shit. I'm like, look at this mummy dude. Like, oh, these guys look great.
Yeah,
like, what's going on with them?
Done more with that.
Yeah.
But that's true. When you see somebody all spindly and weird looking like that, you think they just like evil torture or something, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and like later on when they like the special effects got a little bit better and stuff, and they actually brought back IG-88, the way the animators ended up like animating him, like fight and shoot, was like fucking wild, dude. It was just like
I bet they had a blast.
he was like he was like a super like nimble acrobatic gun platform. Because like since he had like eyes on all sides, his torso would like spin on ends where he would just like fucking be able to like shoot in every direction that he could fucking see and shit.
Yeah,
that's cool. He's like Dawson.
Yeah.
It was.
They even gave him a cool like forward story. It's like, yeah, he was actually part of a different droid war before the Clone Wars, and like he was like the highest. Like the premier model of an assassin droid, and they made a bunch of them with like a hive mind shared like AI, and IG-88 actually hunted down every single other one and killed them all, and he's the last remaining model.
Oh, dude,
that's
he went around and killed himself so that he could be like almost like a
Highlander and shit.
Highlander for fucking droids and shit.
That's cool, man. Holy shit. Yeah, man, they had some really good ideas. It's a season 3 of The Mandalorian wasn't bad. Everybody's like, there's Jack Black, there's Lizzo, it went woke. It just was like a whodunit.
You're like, oh, what's going on, gang? It was like a Scooby-Doo episode.
Murder She Wrote.
Yeah, I was like,
Murder She Wrote, Scooby-Doo,
Here's your filler episode where they all go to the beach. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, yeah, no problem. Okay, whatever, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, exactly. I mean, Scooby-Doo is a good comparison too. It's just like this week we have Don Knotts, you know, like fucking
the Harlem Globetrotters.
I know the Harlem Globetrotters. The Addams. Remember the Addams family?
Yeah, the Addams family made appearance. Yeah. What, like Sonny and Cher?
Yeah,
like all kinds of fucking cameos.
And then they're like Batman and Robin. It's like they're not even real people.
They can't
I know that was
universe.
the funny thing because they would like have fictitious characters and real like guests. It was just like that's so like
that's
like how's the Addams family? How are the Addams family and Sonny and Cher in the same universe? Like Scooby-Doo.
Well, you know,
guess who Scooby-Doo?
That's the mystery to solve. No, you know, I saw because you're talking about Peter Falk from Columbo. I've been binge watching Twilight Zone. And there was an episode that starred him as a like a Cuban dictator.
Oh, wow.
And he was such a good actor, like, and he totally pulled it off. You're like, oh, he's Cuban. He has to be.
Trippy.
But he had the accent perfect. He was great. But it was hard to like put the two together. I'm like, oh, that's fucking Columbo, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is way before Columbo, but
he's in this comedy that I really love of with Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn called Made. Where
I remember that. I never saw that.
Oh, it's so funny because like Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau are like they're Italian and they're like kind of vaguely connected to the mob, but they really want to like become mobsters, like become made. That's like the whole premise kind of the movie. And Peter Falk is like the actual like local mobster that like finally is like, all right, I'll give you a chance, kid. And
he killed it too,
and he kills it. And he's like saying, I mean, it's the most I've ever seen him swear too, because he's like, fucking get this right, kid, and he'll fucking make, like I was just like, holy shit. And he's like, here's the money that you need to take. And he's like, all right, who's this action for? And he's like, it's your per diem. It's your
per diem. Oh man, yeah, I want to watch that now. All right, it's going on the list. Made.
Yeah,
I remember seeing like the cover a lot, and I'm like, I don't know if this is like a comedy about.
Oh, and what's his name? Vince Vaughn is such a like idiot dickhead that you hate so. Like he plays it so. You're like, dude, fuck this guy. Fuck him in the ass. Like he's such an ass, like bumbling asshole.
I can see that too. Yeah.
I think we make let's make the ears bushy too.
So, Jay, I caught like a little bit before I jumped in here. You were talking about you're finally making the plunge. You're making a book.
I am, yeah. It's something I've been working on for a while.
Yeah.
I always said I wanted to do like the all ages book, and it's gonna be like a story book, like that you can read your kids before bedtime, but everybody can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so I've just been designing stuff, kind of that's part of that world. But I also been writing the actual story of what's going to happen in the first story, because it'll be like a series of books that I can grab this little robot gnome guy and put him in these different adventures and stuff.
Robot gnome guy, that's what you should call it. I don't know, you probably already have a name, but
I do. Yeah, they're called ohms is what I call them.
What is it?
Ohms.
Like OHM?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
It's gonna be this guy.
Oh, I like that. Is that the return of the acorn?
Yeah. I'm expanding on that idea, dude.
They're not ohms, they're gnomes. Like, but also ohms, like is in like ohms in electricity.
Yeah, here's one that lives in the desert.
Is that kind of what you were?
Oh, it's like wizards there, man. It's like Necron.
Oh yeah.
Not Necron,
Yeah, I've shown these off before, but these are the ohms. They're about like 3 foot tall.
Oh, they're great, dude. This is awesome.
Yeah, and they're like maiden asteroids before, from the time before, and they were brought
their programming.
Brought back to life by magic.
Nice.
So now they're like pretty much like they're gnomes pretty much, and they live in these different environments, and they cultivate those environments to make sure everything's, everything's
well, and that's
cool.
cool. It's like it's got tech mixed with magic and fantasy.
Yeah, so they're brought back to life by pretty much like a forest sprite. These forest sprites manifest in these environments just because of the areas are concentrated with mana or like earth magic.
Midichlorian.
So they'll live in they'll live in the desert, and like this one I did today. This is one yesterday. This is the little snow one I did in the snow. I live in the Arctic.
Nice.
And I'm drawing in the little penguin things that I'm doing. There too. So I'm drawing like animals to go in this world and stuff like that. So then, I kind of have the basis of the of this world, and then anything I want to do. If I want to do a comic book, if I want to do, I can do a kid's book. I can do a teenage comic book. I can do a manga. I can do anything that's in this world because I have the rules for it.
Yeah.
So in this world with these little ohms and stuff, as well, is the same world as where this character is in the same world. My Rivet character with the magic armor, she's in the same world. She's in the same world as the ohms.
Nice.
So I can do a story on her, which will be like a little bit fun and cheesecake comic book. You know what I mean? Frankenstein that I drew, the kid in the Frankenstein mech, that's part of the same world. You know, because they don't have they use loaders for construction and stuff, or like exploration. So they have like these mech suits that have like cores inside that power them and stuff. So it's a little bit of steampunk and magic put together. I'm calling it terrapunk is what I'm calling it. Here's another just a concept of people, because when you go in caverns, there's poisonous gas, so you have to wear gas masks.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, all these concept characters are great, dude. And I love the world you're building here.
Yeah, another little ohm with a little solder on his hand and stuff.
So solder tip.
Yeah. You know, and even this stuff was kind of this other things I've been working on, or just doodling and noodling. This is all part, like all this aesthetic is all part of the same world. So if I want to do a story, I can do any type of story that I want in this world.
You know what it reminds me of? It's like a children's version of Rifts.
Okay.
I played Rifts a lot when I was in high school, and it was kind of similar. It combined tech with magic and fantasy, and but some of this feel is similar, and trust me, that's a big compliment, because like I loved everything Rifts was, and world wise. So I think what you got here is really cool. Plus, this is like all ages.
This is an oldie. I did this on a stream a long time ago. The floating island.
Yeah, I remember you. Maybe that was one I was on, but I remember you doing some concepts with that, and then you were doing like floating islands.
Yeah. So all that stuff is kind of, even the stuff that I was working on with the girl and the robot, like that's I'm kind of tweaking that stuff a little bit, and it's all going to be in the same universe, the same world.
I think you got something there, man.
I gotta know how stuff, and that's the fun part too. Is like, so like in the first book I do, are we gonna run across an Arctic gnome or Arctic ohm? No, we aren't. But I need to know what they look like, just because designing them is fun. So you're not gonna run across one of these guys. You're not gonna run across one in the desert, like, you know what I mean?
Well, you could foreshadow like in the story, and you maybe describe them or something, or it's just talking about it, maybe not introducing it yet. Like, oh, I ran across a snow ohm or whatever you call them.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like they're like myths. Like few people have seen them.
Oh,
so people don't think they're real. They're almost like Sasquatch or something. You know what I mean? No, but they're real. But people don't believe them. Some people know, and some people have seen them before.
I like that.
You know what I mean? But other people, they don't believe they exist. Because I mean, even the means of communication in this world is like, baby, you're using a telegraph, or you're sending them a letter, bro, or you put that sucker on a pigeon and you mail that scroll. You send that pigeon somewhere. Like that's the tech that we're dealing with.
Yeah. Like pseudo fantasy medieval.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's very influenced by like Nausicaa and Castle in the Sky.
Nice. Yeah. Well, those are good.
So those are good influences. There are airships. There's Sky Pirate. There's all that stuff. There's islands floating in the sky. There's whole things underground.
I really like Shadowrun. You ever play Shadowrun, Odin?
I never played it. I was always intrigued though, because it looked so cool.
That was the other one that was kind of it was like cyberpunk meets. It's like imagine cyberpunk 2077, but with like orcs and elves and shit like that. And like there's the world is run by 7 huge companies, and the CEO of each company is actually a dragon. Because like that's what actually like that's what it's called the emergence event. Like basically it's like imagine 100 years into the future, 7 dragons come up from underneath the fucking planet and just be like, yeah, we've been here this whole fucking time, and like magic's gonna start fucking ruling again,
And we're in charge, motherfucker.
Stop.
Yeah, no, I just remember seeing the books and the artwork. I mean, I was always attracted to the artwork first,
Yeah.
And that's why I got into Rifts. But yeah, Shadowrun was very, very close.
Yeah, a dragon could totally see Nausicaa. Yeah. So I'm messing around with the right now. I'm tweaking an Arctic hare a bit.
just like I did the penguin here, because the ohms in the Arctic are gonna ride these bad boys.
Yeah, nice. That's one of the coolest things about creating animals in a world like that is which ones are animals that people actually, saddle up and ride. Because as much as I loved wizards, like I didn't like his animal that much. Like I've drawn it a few times, and I'm like, it's like a big two-legged bird thing, with like an egg body. It's just not that cool.
It's like a weird lizard ostrich thing.
Yeah.
Whereas when I think of like, I don't know, like there's been other fantasy things where they ride like badass animals, and you're like, that's fucking cool.
I liked
Or
again
like
another.
Thundar. They all had weird horses on Thundar,
Yeah, or like in another Ghibli one is Princess Mononoke. Dude's like riding an elk. It's like an elk deer thing, and I was like, oh, dude, that's dope. Like I always thought that was cool, just because it got to be fast as fuck,
Yeah, I've heard you can ride elk. Like I've heard it's like a legend, but like that people domesticated them, I guess, sort of, and rode them.
Wow.
It's just what I've heard because I've never actually seen it. Of course, there's a guy on a buffalo. That guy rides a buffalo, so that was pretty cool. A man on a buffalo. You ever seen that?
No.
Man on a buffalo. Yeah, a guy ride. Didn't Buffalo Bill ride a buffalo?
You'd
Like
think
the original,
so, right?
like the guy that it's like named after, like like the
Buffalo Bill Cody.
Yeah, like he rode a bison or fucking whatever. Like
You would think that's how he got the name.
He just killed a lot of buffalo.
Yeah, I think that's probably more like
Dude murked tons of buffalo, man. So we decided to call him Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill.
This guy made tons of hamburgers. We call him Hamburger Joe.
Later, after he got smushed by a train, he became Sloppy Joe.
like Hamburger Joe.
There's a character for you. Oh, Hamburger Joe. It's basically wimpy.
Yeah, right. I'll pay you tomorrow if you give me money for a hamburger today.
Gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
I seen somebody comment out of nowhere about that. It was hilarious. They're like, "Yeah, man, it's Tuesday, so Wimpy should be paying me, today." And then I'll be able to whatever they said. It was some freaking Twitter comment or something. But I thought it was hilarious. Like as soon as Wimpy pays me, it's Tuesdays. As soon as Wimpy pays me, man, I'll be back in this book or something. I was like, oh. I was like, that was a good one.
That's a good way of saying you're broke. They're like, well, I'm just waiting for Wimpy to pay up, man.
Waiting for Wimpy to pay up, man. I'm waiting for my hamburger investment to come back to me.
Let's see. Yeah, that's kind of neat.
I love using the blue line, but man, it's such a bitch to erase. I'm like, damn it. I should just be doing multiple sketches, but I just keep tweaking the same one. I'm like, I'm doing this wrong.
So do you have a title for your story?
So the first one I'm thinking, so the main character, the main ohm that I'm using, his name is Widget.
Nice.
And he has a little animal that he carries on his back. That's his buddy that lives in a log that he carries, called Flit. And it's like a squirrel, but I call it a whirl. It's like a squirrel.
Yeah.
With big ears, pretty much. And I think I'm gonna title the books Widget and Flit, and then colon and whatever they're doing. So the first one's going to be called the Nash Root, which they come into contact with this monster called the Nash Root, which is gonna be spawning from the Acorn monster The acorn monster.
Ah. Acorn was a bad dude.
So the premise of the story is that
He used to hang out with Corn Pop.
Well, when we drew Acorn Monster, I made mine Acorn Pop.
Yeah.
I've made an acorn. I've like designed a little acorn village before, like up in the trees. And it's like all made like got.
Yeah. What was that?
Acorn adornments and shit on it.
What was that the bear show when we were kids?
Oh, gummy bears. Is that it?
No, pre-gummy bears, but they all lived in an acorn tree.
The Littles.
Maybe. I can't remember now. I was pretty young, but I remember the toys were cool because it was like this giant acorn tree that like opened up and like their home was inside. Or maybe I
The Littles. Huh.
It might be. Just can't remember.
I guess we'll put gotta give him some reins, man.
So your daughter ever mentioned Acorn Monster ever again?
No.
Oh, okay. It's a one and done.
Yeah, that was
well,
it.
That's how you know it was actually really creative and not like totally scary and creepy. You're like, if she keeps talking about it, you're like, this might actually be a thing. My kids freaking me out all the time with their imagination. Because I'm like, is it their imagination? Like, I saw something move in the closet. I'm like, I'm going to play dad here and say, no, you didn't. But
we're gonna check anyway. Just to...
yeah. And then I go to bed and go, maybe there was. Yeah. Because I just moved into this place I'm living in now. And my daughters are pretty young. And first night we stayed here, my daughter's like, Dad, there was something in the closet. Comes and gets me. And I'm like, this is the first night in this new house. I'm like, no, there's not, And then she's like, well, I thought I saw a hand move. Like we had clothes hanging in the closet. Thought I saw a hand move in the clothes. I'm like, crap. Now I gotta go like check it out and let her know there's nothing there. But like in the back of my head, I'm like, what if she's right?
Shit, what if there's a squatter here, man? I have to whoop his ass,
Well, and I did find, yeah, exactly. But there's also that side of it. So there's like several sides of it. I was fine with the girls here, I was just like playing dad, like no big deal. Well, then they went back to their mom, and I was like, first night I stayed in this house by myself. That's when the imagination went crazy. I'm like, oh yeah, it's waiting, it's waiting for me to be here alone. And it's like totally stupid, like talk yourself out of it, but my brain was just gonna be an imaginative, just like a kid.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like that though. Like I like bad dreams for that reason, because they're more interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I get really bad dreams. I had a horrible fucking one last night.
Oh, even as recent as last night.
Yeah. I was using really bad drugs a bunch in a dream last night. And I woke up like, fuck, why am I dreaming about that? Like,
oh yeah. Well, and I think what I'm talking about is like monsters and stuff that scared me as a kid.
Yeah.
Like those are really cool now, or like horror movie type stuff. But the emotional stuff, like that actually feels real when you wake up and you can't snap out of it all day. That shit sucks. Yeah.
I'm so glad. I mean, not glad, but when I heard other adults actually like admitting to me that like they have dreams that ended up kind of like fucking up the rest of their day, I was like, okay, good. I'm not the only one. Like,
oh yeah,
because it's like I'm like, man, that shit's not even reality, bro. It's like I'm tripping on it right now. Like, how's this gonna ruin my day? Yeah, your brain experiences it.
Yeah, it adds all the emotion, and so you wake up in that state of all the emotion.
Like, so the emotion, like all the brain chemicals actually happen. I mean, it may not have been like physical reality, but like you went through like the motions already. So it's just like, fuck, man, this blows.
Yeah. Well, it's like back when I was married and stuff, I remember like having dreams like where she was like fucking somebody else or something, and you wake up and you're all pissed at her.
Yeah.
Fucking bitch. She's like, what did I do? I'm like, well, in my dream, you were fucking around with some other dude.
I get that all the time from my wife. She's like, I had a dream that you were an asshole and blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
yeah.
Sorry, man. Like, I don't know.
Like, what can you do about
guy?
it? The emotions are there.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. You know that wasn't me, right? Like,
yeah, what's it you?
So are you making dinner or what? Like,
all right, get over it.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, but I've had those too, where it's like, I'll wake up and I can't think of one right now. The only thing I think of is like, maybe like I have a dream where like I can't find my daughter. I'm like, where'd you go? Then I wake up and I'm just like, where the fuck is she?
Yep.
Then I'll like go to look at her in her bed and be like, oh, okay. And then she'll hear me come in and look at her just to make sure she's okay, and then she'll wake up, hey daddy. I'm like, hey sweetie, you want to come to bed with me? She's like, yeah, it's okay. All right, come on. Take her, we still gonna go to sleep, It's like,
why don't you come sleep with me and put my mind at ease?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit, man.
Yeah. No, I had a dream that my dad turned into a monster when I was a little kid. And he was always cool, he was never like abusive or some shit, but it was like, just waking up to that, and then you're like, and then he goes to hug me, I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
I know about this.
He turned into a monster just as recent as last night, so.
I should give some like satchel bags or something.
Yeah, then some people put a lot of like emphasis on those dreams. So then you're like, oh, I dreamt my dad was a monster in a dream. Like, oh, that means he's actually an evil person. You just don't know it.
Oh my God, yeah.
Jesus. My brother did that. I was dating this girl, and then I had this fucked up dream, and she was involved in it. And he's like, break up with her.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like reciting I'm like, this is a dream, dude.
Yeah.
Break up with her
now. That was the case. My wife would have left me years ago.
It's a sign.
It's a sign.
She's always like, I'm always having, she's always having dreams like, I heard from you were an asshole. You were treating me bad. Or you cheated on me or something. I'm like, sweetie, that ain't what fucking happened. Like,
it's not me, baby.
I'm like, what's your problem?
Well, dreams are just crazy in general, because I've had, the interesting thing about dreams is you can like make up and manifest a whole person and a backstory for that person in an instant of a dream, right? And you wake up and you're like, sometimes you dream about people and sometimes it's like, I just made that character,
Yeah, I don't even know what they look like because they had no face. Like, they had no face. I don't even know who that was. I still have dreams where I'm like, I can't get in my locker. What the fuck is my combination? I'm at high school. I'm like, I don't know what combination.
But then you show up to class and you're butt naked and you're like, what the hell's going on?
I've never had the naked dream. I've had, let me take that back. I have had the underwear dream. I've had no pants dream. I've had all that school all the fucking time. Or like I'll be at the store and I'm like, shit, man, I don't have it in my pants. Like, I'll be dreaming I'm at the store.
This is a nice little dream. I'm at the store, just shopping. Oh, the dream turned into a nightmare fast.
I have my pants. I got no pants. Or I'm like, man, all right, I'm going to class. Shit, what's my schedule? Oh, I gotta go to the office. I'm going to the office. Hey, man, like, hey, what's the schedule? Who's your homework teacher? I don't know.
Hey, you must have been a much more responsible kid to dream that stuff.
It's in my locker. It's always like, shit, what's my locker combination? I don't know. What number?
I would have dreams that I got in fights, and then like, but in the dreams, like you punch like
in underwater,
like a sloth. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like,
and it hits him in the face, and it's just like nothing, and you're like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. You say that in a dream, you better wake up and apologize.
Better wake up and apologize.
Yeah, it's like, why can't I move?
Here's what I've had. Unfortunately, on more than one occasion, but I remember it. It's like I go to like a urinal or something and start taking a piss, which is a bad thing in a dream, But like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, why am I pissing all over my belt? It's like, why can't I piss like I normally would? I'm trying to piss in a urinal and it's just getting everywhere. What the hell? And then I wake up and I'm like, oh shit. Those are the worst.
Like, what
Don't
happened?
recommend those.
Or like you go to run away and you can't run. You're just fucking like.
Oh yeah, in mud. I remember a little kid. I had a dream. I was like He-Man, like, you know, and I had like a big broadsword like that, going to kill this guy, and I like hit him in the face with the broadsword right on the blade, and it didn't cut him at all. It just like bruised his eyes. It just gave him like big black eyes, and he was pissed. And I'm like, that was like supposed to lop your head off, man.
Yeah,
And all it did was like ding, just just like a punch to the face. He's like, fuck you, I kill you.
Ooh. I think I'm on the verge of one of the best paintings I've ever done right now.
Is that the robot one, or are you doing another one?
That one.
That robot one coming out dope, dude.
I've been working on the background all day, and it's like really starting to come together right now.
Something you can share or no?
Sure, yeah.
Well, then let's see.
It's robot. It's the robot Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's for one of the board games that my work is got contracted for right now, and it's cool because it's a sequel game to. Let me take this fucking off. It's a sequel game to the very, very first tabletop game when I started my company that ever took us on as a client that we shipped. So it's kind of cool. So we're getting to not reuse artwork, but like characters we made up and developed for the first game, we're getting to like now revisit again a second time. So like there was a card in the first game called Robot Butler, and my business partner was the one that actually did that. It was just kind of this robot that was like kind of sitting here with a serving tray and shit like that, and it came out like really dope. And like we needed to come up with new stuff, and like so the card for this new game is called Magic Broom Racing, and I was just like, dude, wouldn't that be dope if Robot Butler actually was on Magic Broom Racing? And she's like, but he's like a steampunk robot. I'm like, yeah, but he could have like a steampunk magic racing broom that he's like racing. And she's like, all right, well let's see what you come up with. And I like been working on it for a little bit, and like I said, I think I'm on the verge. Like even she said, she's like, I think this might be one of your best paintings you've ever done.
So this is Robot Butler on a steampunk
on a broom
racing broom.
Yeah, it's sick, dude.
It's awesome.
Let's just do entire screen. Here we go. There we go.
Ooh. Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude, that color you did on that cape.
Yeah. So the ribbon for the finish line is the part that's still kind of unrendered right now. I've been just working on those clouds and sky and shit like all day.
Yeah.
So, like that ribbon's gonna actually kind of be a little bit more rendered and a little bit more dark as it kind of comes closer to the camera.
Yeah, at first I thought it was like a rainbow bridge.
Right. Yeah. No, it's like a vertical kind of like ribbon being like held.
Yeah, the finish line.
That's awesome.
They have the light on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See here, I'll even show like what the original card looked like really quick. Here's what the original card looked like.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Very
like
cool.
A little mustache. That's
yeah. It's like incorporated in the middle. It's great.
Right. And then like now he's a fucking
nice fucking Superman.
Fucking broom racer.
Silver Surfer there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. It came out pretty dope.
Yeah, here Trent. I saw Trent commented on it, dude.
Yeah. I was just like,
that was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trent Kanuga commented on it. And I was like, oh, dude, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a fantastic piece, man. Number 7.
A bunch of it's going to get covered up by card UI. Here's what's going to actually be covered once it's actually gets turned into a card. So.
Oh yeah.
The black
Still pretty
border is
good,
like
though.
where text is, and then that bit right there is like where some of the UI, like the like the since it's a card game, like there's like I don't know some numbers and icons are going to be like, right there. But no, I got like the focal point like in the majority of it.
Yeah,
but
that's
we're
good,
supposed to. We always ask everybody to paint out to the edges, like just in case the client ever wants to use it for like marketing shit, you know?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
not
that makes sense.
Stunted painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for letting me share.
No
Yeah,
problem, man.
thanks for
That's
sharing,
awesome.
man.
I was
Sure, dude.
gonna actually wait, like since I've been working on it all day, I was like, oh, I can't wait till actually the stream's over and I can show this to the guys.
Well, preemptive, yeah.
Yeah, show it now.
Show it now. Show it now.
Okay. Oh wait, no, I don't want to share again. How do I? I was gonna say what you were saying earlier. I'm so glad that Streamlabs bought Melon.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess now they could do you get the Pro for like 17 or something. Like I have to do some more research on it. I just haven't had a chance because there's an app too that you could download.
Wait, am I still sharing right now? Like according to like your UI?
Yeah, I hit it on stream,
Yeah.
but it's still here. If you just like, yeah, let's see.
That was
I
a
don't know.
melon thing. I remember that. Like,
I can
I don't
kick
know
it.
how to.
sometimes you can't get rid of it.
Kick it.
I kicked it.
Okay, good. Okay.
Kick it.
Because there's no button on for me. Like if I hit the share button again, it like asks me if I want to share again. It doesn't like there's no like stop sharing button. I was like, okay.
Right.
But Streamlabs is super huge on Twitch. Like a lot of people on
Oh,
Twitch
yeah.
use the Streamlabs backend.
So
And
what
they
I
have like
see,
all these cool integrations of like
yeah,
having chat bubbles from like like they can read the website and like bring up the chat bubbles like way easier, so it's almost like a little feed on the side and stuff.
yeah. It's
And,
like
you
OBS without all the bullshit. Is what it looks
Right,
like.
right. It's like built-in OBS because like you can
Yeah.
even like set up alerts, so it's just like, oh, if you get a donation in chat, like a fucking like alarm goes off and you're like, wow, like a little confetti fucking flies. In Jay's case, it'll be like Ratchet and Clank fucking robots or like nuts and bolts all.
Yeah.
But so I'm really happy they bought Melon because like Melon was questionable as far as tech goes.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have too many problems with it. I know a lot of other people did, but I really didn't have any problems with it.
It was weird. It was just
wasn't
weird
fair.
and consistent in under certain circumstances. It wasn't bad, but it was just like it seemed like it was in beta still.
Yeah, which it was. I mean, they were
Well, I
working
mean,
on
if
it.
you're in beta, you shouldn't be charging people shit.
I mean, you could email them and be like, "Hey, this is the problem," and say, "Okay, we'll look into it." And then they were pretty good about it. Honestly, they were like, "Fix it, or fix whatever issues, or look into it." They would actually get to you like real quick. So, that's cool. That Streamlabs is part of it. I got to do some more research because there's an app. Like I downloaded the app on my Mac here that I can use, and I pull it up. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so maybe I can do better layouts and stuff. But I feel like this one has some pretty nice layouts that you get to do. I like that I could just add a camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was one thing we figured out that
Yeah, that was like cool.
I could have two cameras and you could have two cameras. It was
Yeah, like anybody can
have multiple cameras.
Yeah, just request to add a camera, and then I can allow it. Yeah, it's like the same way I got this one. Odin can be like whatever he's working on. He can add camera. I can just okay, and then it'll pop up just like another window, and then.
Yeah. Well, and if we were doing like a character or something, I'd probably do that. Like for this stuff, I'm not gonna.
So I could share my raw camera that's not going through OBS that's got all the cool filters and shit on it, so I could be in here like Billy plugged and Billy unplugged.
Yeah.
It's like what 80 said that one time. He's like, people say you look young, Billy, but people don't know. I've seen you after the show without all the filters and stuff, and you look his age for sure.
No.
When the makeup comes off, it's a different Billy.
That's why my wife was like, "Man, Billy's young." I was like, "No, he just wears his hat like a 12-year-old, sweetie."
He just looks and talks.
It's a good idea, and I was like, "I'm gonna wear it too." And she's like, don't you fucking dare." Okay.
Like I tell people, like, dude, my ex-wife used to hate it. She's like, "Why do you have to ruin every hat like that?" I'm like, I'm sorry, but like, yeah, like at this point, like I'm an old man, but like when I first saw the Beastie Boy Ad Rock wearing his hat like that from the Beastie Boys, I'm like, that is gonna be my look forever.
Yeah, you look like Ad Rock right now.
Forever. Like that's gonna be my look forever.
Actually, it looks more like Mike D.
And you know, and like there was a long time in like even in the 90s and stuff where like wearing the flipped up cap made you look really weird, you know. And then like the later 2000s when people started wearing the flat brims and stuff, it kind of came back in a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like people used to be like, dude, yeah, oh, because Billy wears his hat funny like that. And it's like,
well, I can't even see it. You got to turn to the side.
Oh yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, like fully flipped up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does that take some work?
What?
Does that take some work?
Like bending it? No,
Yeah,
like once it like kind of pops that way, it'll just kind of stay that way. As long as it's on your head, like it's on your head, it's like basically almost just the reverse of it, the cone down, you know? Some of them require like, depending on the length of the bill. I've had ones where I have to like sit there and like twist it and like fucking hold it for a while, and then
I've seen the guys that have it like rolled. You know?
Yeah, where it's like you pretty much got to roll it. Yeah,
it's like
that you have to roll.
Sardine can.
Well, like the like
all the ones I have
written like well, probably like JBots too. It's like you have to work at that shit.
Yeah.
And who decided that was the way to do it? But I remember always doing that.
Well, and it functionally kind of breaks the hat, especially because, you know, here on the sides, it's not meant to curl up.
Yeah.
It fucks with the, depending on the hat cut, like, and just, you know, thankfully now we have Amazon where it's like I've kind of dialed in. I'm like, ooh, I know the manufacturer,
right?
And because they even like bill length is 18.2 centimeters. I'm like, oh, yep, that's the bill length that I like right there.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
That's how you become a fashion victim.
But there's some trucker hats, especially because I think they're different, like length and the way the cap part is constructed. That I usually have to curl that one.
Yeah, well, I think trucker hats are meant to be curled in, and then
I was gonna say are curled
also
in
have
one
a
way.
a bigger top, which I don't like, but
because like Cooter from that's funny saying it. Cooter from Dukes of Hazzard, I'm pretty sure wore the curled up trucker hat, you know.
Oh yeah,
it's Jason. Good to see Billy on every stream but mine. We almost read that like when I was reading it, I had like Krang's voice from fucking Ninja Turtles, different capitals and shit. Good to see Billy on every stream, but I.
Jason is. Well, see, Jason. Here's the thing: when you fuck up and you make a mistake, you try to not continue to like make that mistake. So it was like after like I messed up yesterday and didn't make your show, I didn't want to be like, well, fuck JBot too. Like, let's just fuck his like you know. So I wanted to be like, you know, let me at least try to make some type of redemption, at least in my own heart, that like, hey, no, I'm here to support my friends, even though I admittedly was horrible and inconsiderate, eating those 2 hamburgers and fries and passing the fuck out on the couch last night was totally selfish and gluttonous of me when I should have been on Jason and Luke's show.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make up for it at least karmaically right now, and be here for Jay. But I love you, Jason. That was long-winded.
I'll just say, he loves you. He's sorry. He sent flowers. Everything. No, I was fully planning to go on the show last night too, but my oldest brother called me and I hadn't talked to him forever, and we got like a 3-hour conversation.
That's cool.
Well, and when I like checked the stream after I missed it, I saw that they had like a panel of like 6 or 7. Like they had a good show.
Yeah, always.
They didn't need Billy Basco in there interrupting people every fucking 3 minutes. It happens enough in regular life.
That's one thing they didn't need. Yeah. Like, we
Or
don't
to
need
be like, yeah, I think Jesus got laid a lot, guys. What do you think? Make everybody uncomfortable.
I love that you brought that up because it's like a topic that I have brought up in front of a lot of people before. I'll just say, oh, yeah, a lot. And it kind of like, it kind of hits differently with different crowds. And I'm so glad that you brought that up.
It cracks me up because I think the 1 or 2 times I've heard you do it, it's usually like out of nowhere too. You're like,
yeah.
Everybody's just talking about it, and then there's a lull in conversation. You're like, I think Jesus like fucked a lot. And everybody's like,
pretty sure he just like, well, because
Not
in a bad way, because like I say,
a bad thing.
I know. Well, because I think of him as like a charismatic kind of cult leader when he was of his day. Because like people didn't know who he was. Some people thought he was crazy. Some people thought he was a messiah. So it was like, I think of
Look
people
what happened,
that are.
Jay. No, he brought it up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Give him a soapbox.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
We heard it the first time, Billy.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think it's why it works so well in a contemporary setting for cult leaders, because they're like, man, Jesus did it. It must work. This is like tried and true, like fucking how to build a harem. Like.
Well, it is tried and true. If you want to build a harem, be a cult leader.
Become a cult leader.
No, and it's weird what subjects like will turn people off and which ones that kind of go like stay away from. Because James and I were working on this story we were writing. It was a comedy, and there was a scene where the guy's coming to this like party, and it's like a birthday party, but he's like kind of messed up, so he comes in and he says Happy Hanukkah, and then he goes, you Muslims and your crazy traditions. And there was somebody else reading through the script, and they're like, you got to take that out, you're gonna get like suicided. I'm like, but that's a funny joke, man. Happy Hanukkah, you Muslims and your crazy traditions. I thought it was funny, but we omitted it because there is sometimes where you're like, yeah, we love being offensive, and
yeah,
I don't want somebody to kill me.
It's outweighing, or I mean, even potential like super outrage. Like you don't want to become a martyr for someone's argument because of a joke that you want to make. You're like,
yeah,
that wasn't.
You're like, it's a nice little throwaway joke. It's not worth it. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if I was Norm Macdonald, I would just roll with it.
Yeah.
Right?
He could do anything.
He would just do it. Yeah.
I love when he was like seeing the clips when he was at like the YouTube Awards or whatever, and he's just like ripping on everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what? Sounds like some commie bullshit to me.
Yeah, that was pretty good. They met the Lonely Island, and it's Andy Samberg, and he goes, you know what I call the Lonely Island? I call him Andy and the other fellas.
Brutal.
Well, then they were like, he's like, how'd you come up with that name? And they're starting to explain the story. And he interrupts him. He goes, man, I wish I had a time machine. And they're like, yeah, to go back to when we came up with the name. And he's like, no, to take back my question.
Oh my God.
Oh man. I don't know if you can get another probably closest right now is probably Bill Burr, I think.
Yeah, Bill Burr. I mean, I think the comedians are starting to come back. Like they got really scared off, 5 years ago with like Me Too and stuff. Everybody was getting canceled, and they're like, "What the hell's going on?" But now they're starting to get back to like, "No, we're comedians. This is what we do. Like, shut the fuck up." But yeah, Bill Burr never really bent the knee on all that. The one I'm really liking lately is Mark Normand. That guy's fucking ways.
I gotta check him out.
Yeah, you'll dig it. Because it sounds like with his delivery and style, it sounds like it's kind of like wholesome, clean comedy. But then he's saying like really messy, because his delivery is kind of like Seinfeld back in the day. And it's like rapid fire, but before you know it, you're like, Wow, he said something really messed up there. That's crazy.
One guy that we've been enjoying is Nate Bargatze. I mean, he's one the whole family can listen to. You know what I mean?
Never heard of them.
And he's it's just like you're talking to, like he has a conversation with you, like he's having a conversation with the audience, and he's just like he's your friend. He's just always saying like funny shit and funny observation and shit and stuff. It was really good. I like him. It's simple, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I like those that are like, you know, could watch it with my kids and not feel weird.
Yeah, no, definitely he can. You could definitely watch this one with your kids, and they'll be like.
Well, I mean, my kids are older, but it's like I still don't want to watch certain things with them.
Yeah,
it's like, you'll probably watch it on your own or with your friends, but I don't want to be watching it with you. You know, we might enjoy it separately, and that's fine. You know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was some movie me and my daughter were watching, and like I remember her like kind of like looking over at me. She's like, "This is weird," and I was just like, "Yeah, this is a little weird."
Hey, Chad, what's up, dude?
Hey, fellas.
I was wondering where Chad was out. Where's Chad?
So the kind of comedy that Nate Bargatze is like, so I go to the store. He's like, I go to the store and I'm shopping, right? And I see this jacket, and I'm like, man, I put it on. He's like, man, this jacket is good. So they have it in blue, and then oh, you know what? I like it so much they have it in they have it in red. And he's like, I'm buying both jackets. He's like, I've never found a jacket that fit me this well. So I take it to the register, and the guy looks at it and looks at me. He's like, are you sure, dude? He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I'm sure. He's like, I love these jackets. I have never been more sure of anything in my life. He takes them home, takes them out of the bag, goes to wear one, and realizes that it's a reversible jacket.
Oh.
And he's like, son of a bitch.
Well, you know, you wear one until it wears out, and you got the back.
It's simple shit like that, but it's just his delivery and stuff. It's hilarious. It's like, oh, this is fucking great. Like shit that we could do and that you can relate with, you know.
Yeah.
Always even like ask why.
Even the like ones that can get raunchy and stuff, the joke on the premise a lot of times is still could be told in a clean way, you know.
Yeah.
Mitch Hedberg is one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like sometimes, you know, I'm a comedian, so I'm on the road and I like to travel. I have to travel a lot, but I'm lazy as well. So like I'll be laying in bed and I'll think of something that's really funny, but that means I got to write it down. So then maybe I'll just convince myself that it wasn't that funny.
Yeah, he had a whole approach that was so unique to him. It was great.
Yeah. You can hear it or you could see him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even if you heard him, you pictured him in your mind if you ever saw him before.
What I don't like is corn on the cob. Man, that shit's wrong. That's just corn. Like they should call everything else corn off the cob.
Yeah, that's the OG corn, right?
I mean, it's like if you took my arm off, you wouldn't call it Mitch. And then once you reattach it, you call it Mitch altogether.
Yeah, man, he was a good one too, man.
Well, he kind of did a similar thing to what like Stephen Wright did, which is that like the jokes are so subtle that they're almost not even jokes. They're just like these weird observations that hit like slow burns.
I used to quote Bill Cosby comedy albums when I was a kid.
He was great, man.
And my parents just thought it was the funniest thing because I would just go off on a whole and then just
skit. Just a full skit. Yeah.
Yep.
That Bill Cosby as himself.
Yep. Classic.
Still, in my opinion, it's the best comedy routine ever done.
Yeah.
Like, it was nonstop hilarious.
He's got a bunch of albums, but that's the top.
Yeah, that was the big one. That's the one I remember because it was on video and watched it a lot.
Mm-hmm. He used to make a series of movies with another guy, and I can't remember the name of the other dude or the movies.
That's how good he was.
But they were dirty. They were like Cheech and Chong movies before Cheech and Chong.
Yeah. It's funny how some of these guys have these like acting skeletons or something. You know, it's kind of like when we watch Pee-wee's Playhouse and then like you get an adult and you're like, Oh, okay.
Oh, Fanta's here. Hey, Fanta, thanks for tuning in. I
Hello,
forgot about
Fanta.
the chat. I'm a horrible person.
Yeah.
Dragon
You
Pisces,
guys were
he has to
talking, and
go.
I had this ready and everything.
Oh, what do we have ready?
So not to interrupt.
Have a good night, DP.
Oh.
Good to see you again, man.
I had that ready. I was like typing it while you guys were talking. I was like, oh, I want to like
Nice.
acknowledge her, but I don't want to interrupt anybody because
Oh.
I'm a horrible interrupter. So like I fucking
I know.
I put I got a little text ready right there. Be like, hi.
Oh.
Passive aggressive interrupting.
How are you doing that, Billy?
I'm on OBS. So I
you're
just
doing it
added
through
a
there.
text
So
thing.
if you're gonna use OBS through Melon or whatever through any of these things, how do you do that? Because I use OBS, but I never use it for just
Okay, so you set up the OBS exactly like you want it.
Yeah.
And then basically there's a button right on the side that says start virtual camera, and you hit start, and then when you go like to join StreamYards or Melon or like whatever, you just choose that virtual camera that OBS has created as your camera.
Yeah, I always wondered that.
And then all controls under OBS at that point.
I've seen that option.
Yeah. Well, now I'll have to try that because I've never done it, even though I prefer to go through OBS.
Insanity.
Now I'm gonna do it because then I can pop up like pics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you can
Yeah,
say,
you don't have
"Hi,
to
Fanta."
necessarily like wait for people to like fucking give you authority to like do shit. Yeah.
And I can switch to Photoshop a lot easier.
Oh yeah. See, like I can go boom.
Straight in and
And
out
then
of
go
all
right
your
to fucking doo.
tabs and stuff. I remember one time, Billy, you were playing like Pac-Man and shit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because we were talking about Pac-Man DX. I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna play Pac-Man and stream that shit.
Sure,
Yeah,
I'm gonna put
it's actually
Pac-Man.
pretty cool.
That's cool. That's what I want to start doing. Game shit. I want to start doing game streams.
I wanted to tell you that I bought
Missing Chad, Fanta. Chad's here too.
Hi.
I bought the Capcom fighting game collection for my Switch, and I don't have any Switch friends. So if you so if you want to play any Darkstalkers or Red Earth on Switch,
Nice. I got mine. I haven't opened it yet.
I know. Well, I'm trying to get like that's why I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy it and then get him to open it because like that, I'll guilt him to being my only Nintendo Switch online friend.
Okay. Wow. I think someone traded one in at the store. I might snatch that one and not open mine. Be like, ha.
Well, we could not even play versus. Like I said, I've never gone through Red Earth to try to beat all the bosses with somebody. So it's like we could like switch, like switch off where it's like, yeah, we might start off like versus, but like let the other one boss run.
Yeah.
Until they're about to die. It's like like classic. Like you sit there with your continue button so that your buddy doesn't die. You're like, oh no, I don't want you to lose your game. So like I'll put my quarter in, but I'm not gonna hit start until like Bison's about to fucking wreck you.
Yeah.
Like
Here I come.
well, we don't want to lose progress, man. We gotta fucking take out Bison. Like
You're gonna lose. I'm gonna put the quarter in.
I know. You're like in round 2 where he wants you like, dude, put in the quarter. You haven't put in your quarter yet. Like put it in. Put it in.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah. Be ready. Be ready.
He fucking does his somersault front double kick, dude, and then jumps you and fucking lands on your head. You're like, fuck you piece of shit.
It's like, oh, I knew you were gonna dragon punch and fucking just.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I only have a couple games on the Switch: the Shredder's Revenge and Mario Kart 8.
Man.
Oh god, that game is so good, dude.
Streets of Rage 4 is fucking awesome, man.
I didn't get to play that, but I got Shredder's Revenge, and me and Hockey played through that whole game. That was really fun.
Yeah, it's on par with it. Streets of Rage 4. It's probably on par with it. It's just as good.
Yeah.
There's a Battletoads coming out, isn't there? Or is it already out?
There's one on Xbox, but it's doo-doo, man. It's bad.
It looks pixel like old school.
Dog water.
That might be. I wonder if they maybe re-releasing the arcade. They're doing a new Double Dragon.
No, it's a company making a brand new Battletoads, and it's like the Shredder's Revenge Ninja Turtles.
Oh, okay. Because I know Microsoft owns the rights to Battletoads.
Isn't the same people that are doing that new one that just came out, the Double Dragon, the same people that did Shredders and what do you call it? Fuck.
I don't know. I didn't see much about it.
Streets of Rage.
The Battletoads look so much like Shredder's Revenge. I thought it was the same studio.
They might just all be like, there might be a couple indie studios like kind of aping each other. Or, I mean, not really aping each other, like aping that, like, you know, their parent companies come into them and be like, I need you to create this thing with our old product right now because that's hot. You know?
Well, it makes sense for Battletoads to ape turtles.
Dude, a 4-player beat 'em up that was like a contemporary one that was good was the Scott Pilgrim fucking side scroller beat 'em up game. That game was cool.
Yeah, soundtrack was good too for the game.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta find
dude,
that pretty old. The old one.
Remember,
Xbox
Chad,
one.
we were talking about Anamanaguchi? I told you that punk band that plays through MIDI thingies. Dude, they did a bunch of the soundtrack for that that game. Yeah.
But that's a good one. My favorite fighter is Battle Arena Toshinden.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
Nice.
I think it was
normal one or the URA.
Back in the day, you'd play that or Tekken, and I thought Tekken was just so slow on the reaction all the time. You'd hit the button, and there'd be like 2-second delay. It felt like where Battle Arena Toshinden was like immediate. It was just like
Remember Kessen? Or wait, no, was it Nick?
I worked at Acclaim, by the way, when oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the fighter. Mortal Kombat and the other one. What's the other combat game Acclaim did back in the day? Had the werewolf in it, and oh my gosh,
werewolf.
Was it Killer Instinct?
Killer Instinct.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I was like, I think there was a werewolf in that.
No,
I remember
it was. The cool thing about Killer Instinct, we had a copy of the arcade machine in our offices. There was a cheat code on that sucker that would speed up just your guy if you hit the cheat code. So I'd go to the arcade and play these kids that thought they were just badass, and I would put in the cheat code on the controller, and I just whipped every single one of these kids, and they thought they were so good. It was hilarious.
That is great.
It was great. I had so much fun.
From early 2000 fighters, one of my favorites was called Kensei Sacred Fists on the original PlayStation. It had like 24 pickable characters, and like the thing that I liked about it was like they had a block / like free button really similar to DOA. So it was like if you pressed it right, no matter what the attack was, they had like a reversal animation. It was like the first time I had ever seen that, and I was like, oh my god, like that's how are they like doing that? And how is he able to like? How's that animation able to actually catch that character's fist and then like have him do a flip and shit, or like grab like midair and like fucking flip him backwards? I was like, that is mind-boggling.
I don't remember
But
that
it boiled down to like me and like my buddies like kind of inching back and forwards towards each other and just hitting the free button the whole time, and nobody was attacking because we knew we could always do a reversal.
all counter attack.
Yeah. Counter.
So did you guys talk about Malin's stream or EVS stream at all?
It was a pretty darn good stream.
Malin's was pretty good too. Did you listen to it?
No, I think I was on here.
He was. Well, I went back and listened after EVS stream ended. But this is cool.
Malin.
Double Dragon Gaiden.
So they have the promotional. All the art on it is done by that guy that we were talking about yesterday on, was that Twitter? Who draws the OG anime style?
Yeah.
You know, he's doing all the he did the cover and all the art for this one, like the promotional art.
This is cool.
Yeah, that looks killer.
Oh man.
Is this a real thing?
Yeah,
It's
just
coming
came
out.
out.
Coming out this year.
Or did
Oh
just?
man,
I thought it was already out. But yeah,
they just
I've
announced
been
it.
seeing ads for it.
I don't like the way those characters look though in the high res. They
Well,
don't look like.
I think that they're trying to keep the. Oh, you talking about the big portrait ones, Chad?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they don't look
They're
like the
married in there.
originals.
Gave her a fucking gun. Suit gun.
I like how in-game though that they kept them squatty. Basically, it's like they're taking the same screen real estate that the old game did. You
Right.
know?
It looks like kind of like high res versions of like River City Ransom.
I just guess they look a little more feminine though.
Yeah, I could agree with you on that. They're a little feminine.
I love it too cutesy.
Yeah, they
Yeah, it's
don't
kind of
look as
TV-ish.
tough. So- yeah, that
Chibi
looks
Dragon.
awesome though. I wouldn't
cool.
mind playing
I
that.
like
Beat 'em
that.
up is coming back, man. Beat 'em up's are coming back, which is sweet.
I watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie last night.
I saw it too. What'd you think?
Well, I like it, except all the men are weak as
Yes.
fuck in that whole movie.
That's my biggest problem with the whole thing.
Every dude in there is just like a little pansy.
Well, the thing is, like, and this, I was talking to my daughters about this because I'm trying to give them a keen eye to catch this stuff, and they've been seeing it for a long time, actually. But I was like, here's the thing: the men at the end of the movie are strong, and they're actually pretty badass. The final battle's great. I really liked it.
Yep.
But they had to like go through like a hero's journey, which is great. I was like, that is cool. The problem is the women didn't have to go through that. They were just badass all right off the rip.
Yep, the wizard
They're
was
like,
like,
we're already badass. You guys have to catch up to us. Yeah.
the wizard was the wimpiest of all of them, and he whined the whole time that he wasn't good enough. And then the lead male character didn't do any fighting at all. It was a Big Trouble in Little China kind of thing, or he just, I'm just here, and then just kind of disappointing.
But like I said, at the end battle, they both kind of
Right.
shined, and they brought it back, and I was like, well, this is cool.
Yeah.
But through the whole movie, I was thinking these guys are pussies. And then the thing with the big strong chick and her dude or her ex dude being like, they
I
like
know.
swapped roles. He was like the girl.
He's like the little tiny dude with the big
he's
burly
saying
women.
He's saying things that like in like a 70s movie a woman would say to a man. She's like, she's like, oh, why are you with the I hope this other girl treats you better. And he's like, well, at least she's not out drinking all night and getting in a fight. Yeah.
And
you're like, wait,
and he's
that's
talking
what the
about
chick's supposed
how
to say.
he's keeping the house clean and gardening, and that's what he's doing all the time.
Yeah, he started his little garden,
Oh
and he's
my
all like
gosh.
wimpy, and I mean, obviously he was tiny. That was part of the.
I mean,
and I'm
sure,
like, it's
men-
humorous. I get it, but
Sure, men garden, but that just seemed like, oh, this is all I do all the time. And in walks this woman that's bigger than his ex.
yeah,
But she's a total giant.
yeah, and I get the juxtaposition, and it's kind of funny, but I'm like, we've seen it so many times now that it's not funny anymore. Now
Yeah,
it's
it's
kind of
like-
like this is the norm. This is what you do all the time. It's the joke is worn.
I mean,
worn out
it
a little.
wouldn't bother me if it wasn't the norm, you know?
Yeah, it would be funny.
If it was done for creative reasons and not kind of like jabby fucking, women whamming, rah 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 shit.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it was. And it's like if again, the first time you see that juxtaposition, you're like, that's pretty funny. Now they swapped roles and they made the woman kind of burly, and that's funny. But like now we've seen it too many times where it's kind of
It almost makes me wonder, like, what would we think of Star Wars if it came out today? And Princess Leia was, just the same. I mean, because she was pretty tough.
Yeah,
in
she was
Star
tough.
Wars, and we didn't find that offensive. She kind of pointed out Han Solo was a bit dumb in the sense that, like, it's too easy that we got away.
Right.
Well, it was all that nerf hurting he was doing. It was what made him so stupid.
I mean,
Yeah, dude.
the fact that
you ever met a smart nerf herder?
she was immediately ready to jump in a trash compactor when they weren't. The dudes weren't.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, and they should
And well,
a
look
competent.
at it too. They were like, "Hey, what about? We don't know about that." And then they almost
Yep.
got crushed to death if it wasn't for R2, who identifies as a man.
Yeah.
Save the day. Boop, beep, beep, boop, boop. See, here she goes. Here's a broad getting you guys in trouble. And
His
fucking
pronouns
dude-
are beep boop bop boop beep.
Beep boop bop boop beep.
Find
See,
that
that's
out.
what Gina could have said. She was doing it through R2D2.
Yeah, she was just summoning her. She was like, I identify as R2D2. Beep boop bop.
It's really weird that and retweeting a Holocaust Museum's quote is what got her canned off Star Wars.
They were just looking for a reason, I think.
God, that's so weird.
Yeah,
They
I
all
mean,
were
the whole
afraid
thing
that she was going to kick their asses.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Star Wars is, I mean, Disney is having a heck of a lot of trouble.
You're dead to me.
And
yeah, they're
my
dead to me.
stock is tanking. My Disney stock.
Oh, you have Disney stock?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of Disney stock.
I would have sold that shit, man.
Well, it was
Just
given
saying.
to me as an employee at one point.
Right, but you can sell it, right?
Yeah, I could still sell it.
Yeah, but
you
it
know
was
the
making
thing-
money, man.
Well, right now, I mean, if you would have sold it 2 years ago, it probably would've been
You know
a good
what?
deal.
You know what I do like about having it is that every year they have and certain times of the year they have what's called a proxy vote, where I can vote on who's on the board and who's off the board and
Oh, that's
what
cool.
new stuff that they want to include on the board. So I have enough stock that I'm able to vote in that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have to have a certain amount, or is that like every shareholder?
I'm not really sure, so you can't quote me on that. But yeah, I find that exciting. I go online and I look up all of the people that work on the board or their board members, and I vote yay or nay on them. And I voted the last 2 years against Bob Iger getting a raise or any royalties.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
So
They have a
he just
comment
has the
section.
he just has
Bring
the
back
stick
Gina
to the man.
Carano.
Dude, that dude makes more money in one day
Oh yeah.
than the wealthiest people do in a year.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those. He's one of those disparity people where it's like, he's like, if you took like where they bring up those statistics, it's like even if he were to lose like $10,000 a day, he could do it for the next like,
dude,
1,200 years.
He makes
You know?
150. He makes 150 to 200,000 a day in his job, and he just tells other people what to do, and they go do it.
Yeah.
I mean, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna work half the day and then still earn 100,000. Not
Well, it's like when
working.
you hear about the big CEOs getting fired. It's like nobody's shedding a fucking tear, you know. Like
Nope.
they made enough in 1 year, and if they did the job so poorly that they got fired, then sucks for them. But on the same hand, they made more in that 1 year than probably making a lifetime.
I would rather they got rid of Bob Iger and brought in Michael Eisner. Just bring back Michael Eisner. He was considered a bad president, but he did better than he was the era that brought in Little Mermaid and Lion King, and
I remember
but
how
that
he
was
used
a
to.
strong era financially.
Remember because he used to host like the beginnings of like the little Disney shows and stuff.
Yep.
He would always show.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, as a
Wonderful World of
kid,
Disney.
yeah, I remember as a kid, like I mean, he was the face of Disney that like meant something to me. I'm like, oh, he's the guy that's giving us all this cool stuff.
But on the same hand, you're like, just shut up and play the movie. Man.
Play the movie, man.
No, but yeah, he's the owner of Topps.
Oh, really?
Oh wow.
Yep, he took a bunch of money when he left Disney and bought Topps. So he owns Garbage Pail Kids and all that.
Oh shit! They could make a Disney Garbage Pail Kids movie.
Yeah,
that would be great. Anyway, I'll be right back.
Squeak. Okay.
I just got this chair and it's already squeaking, man. I don't know, man.
Yeah, there's a Herman Miller makes a gaming chair that looks so appealing to me, but it's like $1,700 for it.
Damn.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife. I was like, "Let me get a chair." And I think I'm gonna get a gaming chair.
Have you ever seen
know-
Herman Miller?
Yeah, their
Furniture?
chairs are like. Well, I mean,
Dude.
it's like the high end, basically like executive chair where it's like actually
Yep.
good for your back and stuff like that. They're like,
Well, they make a high-backed gaming chair, and it looks so comfortable.
it's like the. Yeah, it's.
Well, Herman Miller made some of the most well-known. You wouldn't know it unless you saw it and were told, but they made like some of the most high-end post-modern art deco furniture you've ever seen. Like
That
in
makes
the 60s,
sense.
from the 60s.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
they
Like
still
that,
make those chairs.
like that Peter Max era.
Yeah, they still make some of the chairs they made back in the 60s.
Oh, like
Yeah,
those
it's
bubble chairs and stuff.
Yep.
Well, it's like it's
Cool.
almost like like they're kind of like their flagship chair that they've had for a really long time is this very ergonomically made frame that's got a like a crisscross webbing that goes into there, like almost as like it's like a hammock, but at the same time it's like such a rigid shape. It's almost like the top of one of those stadiums. It's built out of a fabric almost, but it's like for a fucking stadium, you know. But they created that for the back of the chair, and it's supposedly like really good for like your posture when you're sitting down.
They make this like it's not exactly a love seat length. It's a little shorter, but it's this leather chair that if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. But it's a classic Herman Miller chair.
I just want some Stanley Kubrick type shit, man.
Dude, you probably saw it in many movies. This chair. Like,
yeah, if it's kind of how I'm thinking, it might have made an appearance in like 2001 or Clockwork Orange or something.
Probably did.
Yeah, and I know my chair squeaks. That's the thing. But
yeah, mine
I never
too,
think to like do anything about it except when I'm on stream and I'm like, oh yeah, it's me squeaking.
Yeah, my wife bought me this Marvel chair with Spider-Man. Can you see it?
Yep.
And it's a gaming chair. It's already the foam in it's already flattened out in it after a year or so.
Yeah, chairs.
It's not that great. But my other office chair I've had for over 20 years and it's still great.
Yeah, that's like my office chair at work because I've had that for like 15 years.
Yeah, they definitely don't make stuff like they used to, you know.
Gotta be very careful about what gaming chair you buy, Jay.
Yeah, some of them are just straight shit.
Yep, they're just garbage.
and bad for your back.
Yep.
Like they have like such a weird design that like on the outset they might look like a cool sports car, but like underneath is like the fucking engine of a Yugo.
Yeah, I got this metal bar that goes across horizontal about shoulder height in this chair, and my right shoulder aches from it.
Oh shit!
Yep, I'm about to get rid of it.
Chair's killing me, man.
Get rid of it.
I am a maverick.
I'm gonna ache a little longer.
Well, until I get something better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I need to upgrade this chair for sure.
That's why I was saying I'm really digging the Herman Miller chairs, but they're $1,600 for their gaming chair.
Yeah,
and they're on sale like $1,200 right now.
Well, it's one of those things. It's like that's a high price tag for sure for a chair.
Yes,
but you think of how much time you actually spend sitting in it.
Yes.
Yep.
It's just like a bed. You're like, I don't want to pay a lot, and it's like you spend a lot of time sleeping, so I want a nice bed.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. My wife and I have a really awesome bed, so we can each adjust both sides, like however we want.
Sleep number?
No, it's like a fully adjustable back and legs, and it folds.
So
yeah,
two
it folds.
articulations.
Yeah, it's super comfortable. and it's got like vibrators in it and the whole bit. Like,
it's a family show, man.
Did you put the quarters in?
All in.
Not exactly. It's got a remote control and it's got lights that you can turn the lights on under the bed if you need to get up during the night. You just pop the light on. And
Well, that's cool. I like that.
Lights. Pop the lights, baby. Pop the lights.
Hey, baby. Let's bend this bed in crazy ways.
I was worried about like getting crushed, because I'm like technology, like, the controls will get messed up, and next thing you know, you're like, I can't turn it off.
Wasn't there a movie with one that happened and somebody got slapped in it like a sandwich? And went,
One of the Screams, maybe?
Sounds like I've seen that.
I don't know who it is, but I got a bad echo in my headphones.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear it.
Yeah. It's still there. Hold on. Close yours again, Jay. I'm still got an echo. I still
mute. I'm gonna see if it's me.
Still have an echo. It's less, but I still have it. Weird. It's.
You want me to mute? Here, let me see.
Yeah. Pull your arm up on your mic and mute it. Well, it's still there. Weird.
Yeah, and I didn't even do a hardware thing. I did a software mute, which is like stronger.
Yeah, it's strange. Like I was on Matt Bars and I didn't have this problem.
Maybe you hit the little knob on the back that it gives you part of your voice feedback in it.
Maybe. Let me try.
Because there's that balance knob.
Yeah. Let's try this bullshit.
I think I'm gonna get one of those. I'm sick of wearing this big ass fucking thing.
HyperX. Echo, 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 echo.
Well, sometimes I worry about it because I don't actually use headphones.
Echo? Nope.
But never really had an issue with it.
Less. Huh. It's still kind of there, but not as bad. Yeah, this was on sale for $80. It's $130 mic.
And wait, I just want to check. Just because with my Yeti you have to do that. Are you sure when you were tuning the knob that it was set to your feedback thingy? Because usually I have to click it to like get it to your voice and ear mode.
It's just one little knob, and then the gain is up here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine's on one button, so it's like you actually like click in the button to turn it to gain or to turn it to feedback or whatever. So you have two different buttons. Okay.
I just turned the gain all the way down, and it's a lot better, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Weird. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I have a Yeti here that I should probably use more, but I don't.
Yeah, I like the HyperX. It looks cooler.
Yeah, I got a snowball and it sucks.
Oh yeah, the snowball.
Yeah. I don't like it at all
because you gotta literally be like before to pick up anything. You gotta fucking.
It's got to be in your mouth.
Yeah, you gotta make out with it.
Although somebody was pointing out, it's better to be closer to your mouth.
That's what she said.
For those high end ones, I think they actually are. Yeah.
Right.
Because they're so sensitive that they don't want to pick up ambient stuff, so they're meant to be like radio show style.
Right.
That's kind of why I stopped using the Yeti, because it's like if I started turning and looking at my drawing board and then talking while I was drawing, you couldn't hear me on the Yeti because the Yeti was like to the side of me, you know? I didn't have it on an arm or anything. It's just kind of sat here on the desk.
The one Matt has changes colors.
Yeah.
To any you can adjust it, but I didn't want to pay extra just for that feature.
I'll just take red.
I'm fine with red.
Right.
Yeah, right.
This mic looks really awesome in white too. Like they got a white version.
It's called the HyperX.
Yep, HyperX. It's made by
HyperX.
HyperX.
Well, that's a company because they make shit.
You're right. I'm just a little tipsy.
Right on. No, I was joking. I wasn't sure if it was that was the model name or if it was actually by the manufacturer.
No, that's the company, HyperX.
HyperX. And we have Awesome X.
Well, because they make Awesome X, dude. Xticles, take a knee.
Xticles. Boosh.
You guys,
yeah.
you guys remember the Hypercolor shirts back in the 80s?
Oh yeah.
They would change color depending on your body heat.
Dude, it gave you a reason to go up and touch a girl's body.
Yeah.
Oh, let me put some handprints on you.
Hey, baby, can I check
Can I
out
hyperprint you?
your
Hey, girl.
Hypercolor? Here, let me put my penis imprint on your shirt.
Ever had a mushroom tattoo?
Oh my god, dude. I think that's the dirtiest thing I've ever heard Odin say ever.
Oh, he's got more.
Uh,
Odin's got more dirty.
oh, for sure.
I got plenty of dirty,
There's no way you could be wearing camo pants or camo shorts like that in 2014 and not have a little more dirty in you.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirty in those camo pants, I'll tell you that much.
Man,
You're like a mid, early 2000s like rebel, dude. You're like, I mean, practically,
Oh, dude, yeah, that's what we were
back when
playing.
punk rock still meant a word, like yeah.
We were playing like new metal kind of shit, and it was like,
Okay.
yeah, the aesthetic word, but yeah.
Punks and metalheads still are like it's when that was still it's like when you could be fucking edgy and it wasn't like fucking lame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the older you get, the lamer it gets, but yeah.
Well, like edgy now is like following the rules.
Edgy now is, I don't know, yeah, protesting
I know
what
it's like
everybody else does.
it's like I'm counterculture. I wear a mask.
Exactly. They're gonna be like, I'm fucking metal. Put that mask on, asshole. Listen to fucking Biden, dude. Like, yeah.
Big Brother's my friend.
Yeah,
Exactly.
follow everybody. Be conformist.
They're like, fuck yeah, punk rock. Let's surrender our rights, dude. Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
To your rules, government.
Fuck yeah, communist.
So I remember Arvid saying he thought it was the final test. Like that made sense to me. He's like, all the old punks, and here we are in this day and age, and now they're all conformists.
Yeah.
You failed the test.
Some of them, and then the other ones are now considered like right-wing extremists.
Oh yeah, they're extremists.
The ones that haven't changed basically are now considered like fucking.
Yep,
and that's
Johnny
when the
Rotten.
realization came to me because I was like, wait,
Yeah, Johnny
does that
Rotten.
mean I'm right-wing? Like
Johnny Rotten said it's really funny now. How he's all of a sudden become a conservative compared just being the same person.
Did you ever think you would see the day when Johnny Rotten, like, you're a right winger?
Yep.
Well, and one I like, and he's always been pretty left, but I've always appreciated him for being an actual free thinker.
Right.
Is Jello Biafra.
Right.
Because the guy like annoys me on some things. I'm like, you're totally wrong, but I know you came to that independently. You're not just following shit. And so then he'll argue other ideas that don't toe the party line, don't toe the line. And so that's why I'm like, I really appreciate you, even though I disagree with you mostly.
the weird one for me was when like Rage Against the Machine started doing like Democratic Party like fucking events that like were like $275 a ticket. I'm like, this is Rage on behalf of the machine.
Yeah,
What the hell is going on? Like,
Yeah, I love those guys in fucking high school, man. They were like, I just loved because it was
dude.
their
rhythm section was
and the
so
rhythm.
good.
and I never
Dude,
thought
man,
they were
Tamarella was
either
like
political
fucking,
party. Like they were anti-government, not like anti-apolitical party. And it was like really weird to like see them go like super like, oh no, but we agree with the Democrats, just fuck Republicans and stuff. It's like I'm like, that's still the machine, bro. But that's
Tells
still
me how old I am.
Dude, I remember though, like because when people were doing that and Rage Against the Machine was big, like I remember Slayer kind of came out and said that I think they voted for George Bush or something. Like in general, I don't know, their whole band, so maybe not all of them, but one of the guys was like, yeah, I'm Republican. And like the outcry was huge. But I'm like, it's fucking Slayer, dude. Like, what are you're not gonna argue with that. But they were one of my favorite bands, and it was so freeing for me because I'm like, they were already starting to push like all of celebrity, all of rock music. Everybody is Democrat, liberal.
Dude, there's a great documentary on the beginning of like thrash metal, which was Metallica and Slayer and a lot of those bands, and it's called Blood on the Front Row.
I've seen it. Yeah, that was a good documentary.
Dude, that is so awesome.
Yeah, though that's I love those because I came late in the game to that scene, but that was always like my favorite.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, man, I wish I was hanging out in like '86, like going to these shows, but I was like 7 years old,
Dude,
Jason says
13.
political my party on your asshole.
Political my Perry on your asshole.
Perry. Oh.
Right.
I mean, when I remember when I first started seeing, I remember seeing Metallica for the first time, not their concert, although I've been to their concert many times.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first heard of them was before one, and this Mexican kid in the neighborhood had a what's the one with the crosses? Master of Puppets. Yeah. He had a Master of Puppets shirt and was listening to them, and I took a listen and my mind was blown. I was just like, oh, this is amazing. I need to go buy their albums, and I really loved Ride the Lightning a lot more than Master of
Those
Puppets.
albums were legit, really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
The first time I had heard Metallica, I was a sophomore in high school, working at a Bullwinkle's pizza joint. Like, it's kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese, but it was Bullwinkle thing. And they even had the animatronic robot show and everything. Yeah, Rocky and Bullwinkle.
No
they even
shit.
had animatronic robots and everything. I had to like dress up in the Bullwinkle outfit for like
Dude,
birthday
that sounds
parties and
awesome.
stuff.
Dude,
But, that's where I started like smoking weed. And
listen to
the guy that
Metallica, the
smoked,
devil.
the guy that smoked me out weed the very first time, like was playing like Metallica in the car when we were sitting there smoking weed. And I had never heard music. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And he was almost like testing me too, because he's just like, because I was like kind of smoking it, almost like a newcomer. Like I was just kind of going like, and then blowing it right out. He's like, no, dude, you gotta smoke it and then pull it in. I don't want to see you like just blow it out. Like hold it in, man. He's like, don't be wasting my weed if I'm gonna be like that. You smoke my weed. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry. He's like, all right, let's listen to this Metallica, man. I was just like, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah, and you're getting stoned because you were like a newbie, so you're probably really baked, and you're like, damn.
oh, like once he told me to hold it in, I'm like, that's the secret. Holy
That's the secret to
shit.
getting fucked up.
Dude,
Well, that was speaking of Bill Cosby himself, that he did that. He's like, the thing is, you smoke the weed, then you gotta hold it in. He kept doing the whole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chad hates it when I do that. He's like, I feel so bad for you when I hear you choking
Dude,
like that, Billy.
hearing you cough, I really do get sympathetic because I have
weed smokers call it quagging, because it's like a quack and a cough at the same time.
yes, but dude, I have a breathing issue. Like, when it happens to me, I lose my breath. Like I have to struggle to catch my breath, and I feel like I'm gonna freaking die. So when I hear it,
That's the real secret to getting baked is coughing your ass off.
yeah, if you don't cough, you don't get off. I heard that.
Yeah, that one sets you over the edge. You're like, I'm getting stoned, I'm feeling it, but then like once you have a coughing fit, your eyes are all watery. You're like, damn. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just not down with it.
That's some good shit.
Well, no, you don't necessarily. I mean, it hurts to cough, like it sucks. But I mean, but when you do, I mean, inadvertently, because it's like, well, I mean, this is like, like weed lore. I don't know if this is like, they say that when you're coughing, like the capillaries in your lungs are actually like expanding during the cough, and it allows more THC to seep in.
Yeah.
So you get it's like an extra.
Being that
It's
high,
more bang for your buck. I'm maximizing my investment right now.
Well, I like burping like 20 minutes later, and it's weed smoke that comes up. I'm like, ooh, that was just sitting in there getting me ripped.
yeah, being that high is not a good thing in my opinion.
I can't smoke weed, man. It's it just makes me sleepy.
Yep. Well, it depends on the kind you get.
It's whatever my brother and sister smoke.
I want the sleepy kind.
Then it's like, all right, guys, like
I smoke the brainy kind that gets me all like amped.
No, I like the sativas because it's
Yeah.
like getting caffeine in you.
Mhm.
You're like,
Yeah.
At my daughter's wedding, I had sativas gummies.
Yep.
And it was like 2020, January 2020. Dude, as soon as the music started on the dance floor, I was on the dance floor the entire time.
I keep boxes of them here on,
Just stand there, bust a move.
on the ready, Chad.
Dude, you're my friend.
Well, because like I don't, what I'll do is I'll chew. I guess it's kind of like the way people say they the microdose. I'll chew like a half a gummy right before I have to start drawing and painting,
Right.
and then take one tiny little hit, and then not anymore after that. So it's like just kind of like this perfect little like
Down to a
kick.
science.
Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, now I'm gonna start drawing and shit.
Yeah, boy, 420, y'all. Wednesday weed talk.
Let's do it. Looking for a gummy I had somewhere. I
don't
can't
know.
find it.
I can't handle my shit anymore. I don't know what happened. Because now every time I smoke, I like get it's a mental thing. Like I get like socially paranoid, and I'm never like that. And then I'm like, I start doing things like I'm laughing at a joke, and I'm like,
Yeah, and you're like, oh, people don't think I'm funny.
yeah, I'm laughing a little too hard here. They're probably
too
thinking I'm
much?
an idiot.
I got a great
Laughing
story.
like a mannequin and shit.
Yeah,
The first-
that's what
the-
happened.
The first time I got high, my buddy Mickey and I were waiting in line all day to buy tickets for Motley Crue, and I decided, all right, sure, I'll try it. And we went out in the woods near his house and walked through the woods and tried it. And dude, I've never experienced anything like it. But when we were walking through the woods, the trees were going boom, 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 like this,
Oh,
like
yeah.
quick motions. And I got so baked. And so we went into the house, and I walked into the dining room. Or the kitchen, the kitchenette and wherever their table is sitting Lou Diamond Phillips in the
For
kitchen.
real?
And it was no joke, it really was Lou Diamond Phillips.
What the
Oh
fuck?
my god, that's so sick.
And he was best friends with the oldest brother, Randall. They went to college together, and he was famous at the time for La Bamba.
Fuck
Yeah, you're like,
And he's sitting here in the kitchen, and I'm
Like, am I fucking hallucinating this shit?
yes, I literally thought I was hallucinating that Lou Diamond Phillips was in the kitchen
That's dope.
of my friend's house, and I just couldn't believe it. So Lou kind of guessed we were high, and he told this stupid joke, and I couldn't even tell you what the joke was. It was so dumb that we both lost it. Me and Mickey both lost it, and I could not stop laughing. And they were like, you guys were out doing
Yeah.
yeah.
There was
so
nothing in
busted.
you that was like, hold it together for Lou.
But in my mind, I'm thinking, so this is what weed is like. I'm seeing famous actors.
I had a very similar experience in my 20s. I mean, I knew it was happening, but it felt like so surreal because like I've never met any celebrities or anything before. Like, I mean, well, I guess this is the one time, and I was selling some weed to a guy, and he was like a rich kid, and I was sitting in his house, and we were sitting there rolling a joint, and we're smoking, and all of a sudden, front door opens, and this dude walks in. And my eyes just kind of like pop out of my head because he smiles and looks at me and just kind of nods and walks by and he's like, "What's up, fellas?" And then like walks up like the staircase and shit. And then I'm just kind of like in a daze, and I like look at the kid that I'm like selling the weed to, and he can tell that like I'm tripping. He's like, he's like, "Yeah, that's my dad, Chris Christopherson. You might know him." I was
no!
I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, and then he came back downstairs and he's like, "So how's the smoke?" And his son's like, he's like, "Good shit, Dad." And he's just like, "All right, cool." And he like sits down and he just like, he took a couple puffs and he's just like, "Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And he's like, "All right, I'm kind of busy." He's like, "All right, later, fellas," and like took off. And I was just like, Am I tripping right now, dude? Like,
Cool as shit.
Wasn't that dude friends with Willie Nelson?
Yeah. Well, he was friends with all those guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris
Were they in the band
Christopherson's
together?
pretty famous.
Weren't they in like the Outlaws or something?
well, I mean, and I didn't even know.
Yeah, he
like,
was one of
and-
the highwaymen.
And
Oh, there you go, yeah.
I lived just south of San Francisco in Palo Alto, and like, I mean, like you know, when you just kind of like live in a random place, you don't know that there's like celebrities there. I mean, the house was nice and everything. It looked like, I mean, I was like, oh yeah, these people have money, you know. But like, I didn't fucking know that's like, it's like, oh no, that's a celebrity home and shit, you know. And I met the guy just because I worked at Whole Foods. And he kind of made a joke, and I worked at the butcher department. I kind of made like a weed joke, and he asked me, he's like, "Hey, do you know where to get any weed?" I was like, "Yeah, I got good weed, man. You need some weed?" Like, so it was total just happenstance, you know.
Dude, I will say that like you can make friends with weed. Well, back in the day, especially.
Oh, back in the day, yeah. But at the same time,
hush,
like
hush.
I was just saying, like I really like modern though, because like now I don't have to hang out with people I don't like to smoke weed.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I remember that was almost like a pickup line, you know, and now it's not nearly as effective.
hey,
but,
do
like
you
you're
smoke?
like, yeah, you want to go smoke?
Yeah.
We totally hijacked Jay's stream with
With
talk.
drugs.
Great. This
Yeah.
is great.
He's gonna delete this.
I gotta remember that this is my stream, and that I'm not just listening.
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes I'm like, oh shit, I gotta
Just
do
watching the
stuff.
stream.
Like I'll just be like, listen, this is a great stream. Oh, it's my stream. I'm on it. Okay.
If you got something to say, you start typing it in the chat.
Yeah.
Well,
I gotta let these guys know.
Jay, you definitely should be doing gaming streams or have a channel for it because you got a store, dude. Like turn that store into like your show backdrop, you know.
Yeah, I'm
Start
thinking
talking about that stuff.
Yeah, I think I either might do it here or I might just do a channel for the store.
You
I'm not
should.
sure yet.
Yeah, do all gaming stuff and
Dude, do a channel in the
store thing.
store. It doesn't have to be for the store, but you can promote it.
just stream from the store 24/7, and we'll all join in and watch what you do.
Right? I
No,
thought
Dan,
about it.
Dan Plagle says, "Let's all start doing fentanyl." No.
Right, you first.
Yeah, you do that first.
Yeah, right behind you.
Yeah.
Wait, somebody just died of fentanyl like recently, right? Didn't Coolio die of fentanyl?
Dude, I don't know, but all it takes is like one tiny little gram, like tiny little.
I heard like just breathing it or touching it or some shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. That
Well,
sounds like horror
No,
stories.
well, because
stuff like
well,
they
you know
used
what's
to do
crazy though is
back
because
in the
you
day.
know it was invented to get people off of heroin. It's just like it was supposed to be a replacement for methadone because like when I went through rehab and there was like all the opiate and heroin junkies there and shit,
Right.
they were basically getting fentanyl strips from the rehab center because like that's what they prescribed to them so they wouldn't be getting cravings to do heroin.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard that.
because it's not
Yeah.
because unlike methadone's a synthetic opioid, and that's why people were getting hooked still on methadone.
Yeah.
But then they created fentanyl, and what fentanyl does, it's not even a synthetic opioid. What it is, it's like at a molecular level, its molecules literally are like the same shape. Like think of almost like you know like D&D dice or whatever, where they like created a molecule that's a non-opioid, but the molecule shape is exactly the same shape as heroin, so that when it bonds with the body, it fills those receptors just like heroin does. So basically, it's supposed to be a blocker, you know. So it like fills the heroin receptor without like getting you that high. But like, dude, they figured out how to like get high on it. Nowadays, it's just like, well, you know, if you take way more than you're prescribed, man, that shit fucks you up. Like, it's like, god damn it.
Dan says
Well.
it cleaned Coolio up, so
Gangster's paradise.
Gangster's Paradise. Yeah, well, that's the fitting end then, I guess, right?
Hey Jay, do you draw while you're at the store?
No, I'm usually too busy.
Coolio isn't even addicted to oxygen anymore, said Dan.
God damn.
You know, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
The
I'm
addiction.
usually too busy to draw. Every once in a while I do,
I can, but usually I'll do it on my iPad or something. I've been designing store stickers and stuff.
That's cool.
So I got a few printed. I don't have any handy though. I think they're all downstairs.
Do you give them away with purchases and stuff?
I sell that shit.
Oh.
Like $5 a sticker, unless they buy like $100, then I'll give them one.
What's the name of your store?
Old School Player.
Old School Player.
That's pretty cool.
Playa.
I just fell into it. It's hilarious. It's just crazy. It's like, we decided to move out of state to live with my mother-in-law. So I moved from like the Chicago area down here to the South, and best decision I ever made, by the way. Jesus Christ. And I'd come visit.
Dirty South.
And when I would visit my in-laws, we'd go to this game store, and it was really tiny at that time. And so I'd go in and always talk to the owner, David, every time. And that was me getting out of the house when I would visit the in-laws and stuff.
Yeah.
And then so like we moved down here, and I'm like, all right, cool. So I was like, well, I'm not going to do the air ventilation cleaning anymore because that was the family business. I was like, I want nothing to do with that shit anymore. I'm over that. So I was like, all right. So I started training to become a fireman. And while I'm training to be a fireman, not necessarily taking classes, but I just would go take the test and like go to the gym, and then I just kept like getting in shape and just taking and passing the tests, the physical and the written, hoping they would hire me. And while I was doing that, I just was, I was like, 38, you know what I mean? You're trying to become a fireman. So they're probably like, yeah, this dude's too old. But I was like smoking the tests and stuff. I was working, I went into the game store. I was like, hey, like I live in the area now. Are you hiring? He's like, yeah, why don't you come by next week? I'll give you a week trial, and then, then you can tell me if you like it or not, pretty much. Because it's like, it's not what you think it is. I'm like, all right, man, cool. And I never worked retail. I just worked like air ventilation cleaning, commercial, industrial, dealing with contractors and maintenance guys and stuff like that, So then I came and worked for the week. I was like, this is great. Like, yeah, sure, man, no problem. I'll do this part-time, and while I'm still training to be a firefighter. So he hires me, and I'm working part-time, and then I'm there for a couple months, and me and David become friends. And then he asked me to be a manager. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I become a manager, and now I'm working full-time there. And then when he made me a manager, he's like, dude, I put an ad, like I put a Facebook post like 2 days before you showed up. And I was talking to he was talking to his wife at the time, and I was like, you know what? He's like, I wish that dude that would come in that out of town, I wish he lived here because I would hire him in a heartbeat. And he was talking about me. So like he put an ad hoping I would show up, and I move in the fucking area, and I'm like, hey man, I got no job. Like, you guys hiring? Like, what's up?
Like,
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy. So that's why it's like it's been really, it's been really eye-opening, like since I moved down here, and just the way stuff has been working out. Like,
at what point did he go, I'm ready to get out of here? You want the business?
Well, we're partners still. We're co-owners and stuff.
Okay.
So,
well, at what point did he say, I'll make you a co-owner? How did you have to buy in?
He just was like, hey, you guys, like, you're here all the time. You're taking care of the store. Like, and like I said, we're really good friends. So he's like, do you want to become a partner and buy into the business? And I was like, yeah, cool, let's do it. So he asked me, and I was like, all right. And he's the type of guy that doesn't like, if he doesn't want to do anything, he won't even mention it. Like, he doesn't want to, like, he's not one of those guys that's like, hey man, if you need anything, let me know. Or if you need a ride somewhere, give me a call or whatever, unless he really means it and that he will do it.
Right.
So, some people say shit to make themselves feel good or look good.
Right.
Yeah, he's not that guy. If he doesn't want anything to do with it, he'll just keep his mouth shut and not say nothing.
Interesting.
So he wasn't really 100%, 110% sure that I would, be a good partner. He wouldn't have even asked me or even brought it up.
Nice.
So
Jason
speaks to your character, bro.
Yeah.
Jason showed up. What's up?
Showed up and ran away. I think I invited him too fast. He was waiting. He was hoping he'd sit back there for about a good 40 minutes, I think.
Coolio isn't even addicted to oxygen anymore. It's just damn plague.
He's an addicted to life, dog. He kicked that habit real quick.
Yeah.
My brother met him in Vegas
Last one to
once.
kick.
He we
Met
went there
who?
for Coolio. He met
Oh.
Coolio one in Vegas. We went there for a duck cleaning convention and to get certified.
Quack quack.
And so, I mean, by this time, you know, I mean, it's a family business. I've been loading up trucks since I was like 13 years old. I know, and you know, I know how to do it. You know what I mean? And so we go, and you had to take this course, and it was like an 8-hour course that you had to take, and then the next day you go in and you take the test to get certified. Well, a lot of the stuff on the course, like I said, me and my brother, my older brother, were doing. He's been doing it longer than I was at that time, because again, family business. You know what I mean? So we'd go. We're like, all right, cool. So half the stuff we knew, like not even more than that, 80% we knew. You just had to know their terms of how they called shit and what they named it. So when you took it to the test, you know what the right answers were. And it was torture, dude. It was torture. It's like somebody sitting there and teaching you how to add 2 + 2, like for 8 hours. It's like, fuck, I know. Like, all right, man. Like, so we go back. The hotel that we stay at, you know, they have a bar downstairs. It's like, we'll have a couple drinks and we'll go to sleep, and then we'll get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go take the test. Well, one drink turned into many drinks. and I don't even remember going back to the room. Apparently my brother like took me back to the room. You know, I don't remember nothing. The alarm goes off. I turn and hit the alarm and say something like, fuck this shit, and go back to sleep. My brother's like, all right, cool, man. He just hit the snooze button. No, I shut it off. I didn't set the alarm. I had no idea, but I shut it off. So we get up, and then we're supposed to be there like this test starts at 8, right? We wake up, it's like 8:15. We're like, oh fuck, man. We were messed up, man. We still were hungover because we probably stopped drinking like at 4 o'clock.
Right.
And I'm not a big drinker, so this is probably one of the 3 times that I got really wrecked. So we're going through one hotel through another hotel because they were like linked to get to the one that had the test. And I can't remember which hotel it was. I want to say, I don't think it was the Bellagio. It had a weird ass carpet that looked like a fucking mind's eye picture. So we're just inside with sunglasses, fucking walking, and the stairs are blending in. Like the steps, like when there's like 3 or 4 steps, they're like blending in with the carpet, man. So I'm just holding on to slide my feet down. We walk in at 8:15 wearing fucking sunglasses. 8:45, we're done with the test, and we walk the fuck out. We aced it, dude. We fucking aced it. I was so messed up though that the rest of the week that we were there, my stomach was just it was horrible. And so the next day, my brother goes out. I'm hurting. I just want to sleep, and he calls me at like 2 o'clock in the morning. He's like, "Hey man, guess who I saw?" I'm like, "Who?" He's like, "Man, I just saw Coolio." I said, "Fuck Coolio." And I hung up the phone. And my brother was like, "Yeah, man, I saw him. He was like at some casino, man. He said, 'What's up?' He was like with some midget or something, dude." He's like, "I don't know what the fuck was going on."
What are you saying, Dan? Are you just now catching up? Like, he says, "Do you remember Lou Diamond Phillips?" Like,
yeah, he was in the big pit.
You guys talked about Lou Diamond Phillips?
yes. I told him a story about where I got high the first time and walked into my friend's kitchen, and Lou Diamond Phillips is sitting at the table, and I'm
As
like,
usual.
and I'm like, dude, is this what being high is like? But it really was Lou Diamond Phillips.
No, that is what being high is like. You just Lou Diamond Phillips goes into your.
You remember those invisible chickens?
Every other time I got high after that, he always showed up.
Yeah, Lou Diamond Phillips is just there.
Yeah. He's your
Like,
spirit.
"La Bamba."
He was famous for La Bamba at
Patron
that time.
saint of weed. Diamond Phillips shows up.
Did any of you guys see the big hit with him and Mark Wahlberg in it?
Oh yes.
Oh my god.
I did.
Yeah,
see
but
that.
the only reason it's worth watching is Lou Diamond Phillips's role.
Yeah, Lou
It's
Diamond Phillips
fucking
is really
hilarious. Yeah, I can't remember his name.
He was on a
Lou
TV
Diamond
series
Phillips.
for a
Just
while
says
recently.
That's his name.
He was on. What was he on? Was he on Longmire or some shit?
Yep, that was it.
Mm.
Longmire.
The guy
Yeah, they
looks the
consider
same.
him part of the Brat Pack.
What? No.
Yes.
Because he was in Young Guns.
I think he's too brown.
Yep.
He was too
Not
brown.
the Rat Pack. The Brat.
They have to have their
But
Sammy
the Rat
Davis
Pack
Jr.
was
That's
the
what I'm talking
Breakfast
about.
Club. The Breakfast
Yeah,
Pack
I
was
saw
the
the Breakfast Club kids.
Well, it was the Breakfast Club, San Elmo's Fire, all those.
Yeah, it
Was
wasn't
St. Homo's
Yeah, it
Fire?
wasn't Young Guns. Yeah, St.
St.
Elmo's Fire.
Elmo's.
But all those guys were in Young Guns, like Kiefer Sutherland. They considered him, and he wasn't in Breakfast
No,
Club.
he said Saint Homo's Fire.
St. Homo's Fire. Yeah, you never seen that?
Did you say that?
The record cut.
I don't know. I don't listen to you guys.
Yeah, St. Homo's Fire is not a good movie.
It's hot, man.
No, the Breakfast Club is still
Say it
good.
again. Oh, and do it down the road.
Where are you, Dan? Like, why are you in here?
It's John Parr.
Dan's got the link.
Maybe he's probably at Leah's.
Yeah, he said he didn't have a computer at the time, so he probably wasn't.
He's got a phone.
I can move like a man in motion. All I got is a pair of wheels.
Higher and higher.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
St. Elmo's Fire.
St. Elmo's Fire by John Parr.
St. Elmo's Fire.
None of us can do it any kind of justice because it's
All I got is a pair of wheels.
a bag of weed.
Oh yeah, well, I haven't had any herb for about a week, and my delivery person came today, like right as Matt Barr's show started. So
that was actually a good show today, guys.
I'm kind of smoking.
That's what I said.
Really?
It was a real good show.
That one actually went really well.
No way.
Dude, yeah. You were
I
keen,
thought,
Chad.
I thought we were like just being really not on top of it, but
No, you guys were good.
No, dude.
I just thought it was funny. I listen while I'm at work, so all I hear is like, "Yeah, these two are trash." Yeah, this one, oh, I like these two guys.
yeah,
Like,
I started
who are
catching
they?
on. I started catching on and tried to, because you asked again, who, what, and I went Daredevil, Elektra, Jason.
Yeah, because I'm probably the only one in chat listening and not watching, so it's fine.
No, I was listening too because I was
I
at
just-
work as well.
Yeah,
So
see,
yeah.
So
I was
yeah,
driving
that might
home
be
and
a
it
little
popped in.
yeah.
You know, Chad,
but no,
I'm
it's a
gonna.
good one.
I think it was the best show Matt's put on so
Yes.
far since he started the new show.
I
from
agree with that.
us.
I agree.
Wow.
Because we had one main topic and we got through the whole thing, and then we were able to like have a wrap up and then like see what the chat like felt like afterwards, and then it like ended and like there's like 90 minutes and like solid.
There's
That's
nothing
good.
wrong with a
Sweet.
little derailment. It got a little derailed with the Avatar Star Wars movie stuff. Like it, like for like 5-8 minutes, it was like, "Are you guys gonna talk about comics?" And then it veered back into it. But you know, it was the best stream Bar has done so far.
Oh, that's good, because I'm not really sure. I don't see it objectively, I guess, from the outside.
Bro, you're on panel, yeah. You don't see how it's really.
And it was very enjoyable. It was very enjoyable.
I was listening at work, and even the times when I'm like, "Who you got?" Like, I eventually would piece it together then you would say their names. I'm like, "Oh, okay." So it was actually it was a good show. It was a good show. Billy did a great job.
Wow, I'm glad to hear it. Thank you.
Bar did wonderful, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that Narwhal stopped in and said nothing.
And I was up in, started eating, and then left.
I think he felt guilted by us, though, and he stuck around.
Well, I think Narwhal is more into like the weebery and the outskirts stuff than he is into the mainstream stuff. So I was like, oh, it's understandable. Yeah.
That's me. That's what I was telling Billy. It's like, Billy, we gotta do a show where we talk about old school anime shit, dude. Because there's no place to talk about that stuff in CG. Everything's like you get
Dude,
shunned for it.
You
That's
don't
why I
know how
felt-
many. Go ahead, Billy.
Okay, that's why I said. That's why I felt Chad was like a key part to the show today, was because it's like, I could keep the conversation going and like okay, well, like what topic could this lead to, or like what part of this conversation could lead to the next thing, you know, and how it relates. But like the knowledge that you and Matt bring, I do not have like whatsoever.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So like without you being there, like Matt would have had nobody to play off of that actually knows about these characters the way that you do. That's why I kept like referring to you, like, hey, what do you think, Chad? Because like I didn't fucking have shit to say because I didn't fucking know.
Yeah. and I could tell.
I was like, can we talk about some manga? I even told Matt, I was like, he's like, we're doing dynamic duos. I'm like, okay, well, I can talk about Appleseed if you need to.
Dude, I got real excited when we brought up Luke Cage and Power Man because I was able to pull out
so
this.
key.
Yeah, that was
able to-
cool. Yeah, when you were talking about that, I'm like, yeah, dude. And even Billy, you made a good point. You thought they were flipped. Like,
Yeah, well,
when you
dude, I
I,
thought it was-
kind of did too,
I
though,
thought-
when
like,
I
I
first
had
heard
a-
of them. So,
I had
yeah.
a revelation. Like, not only was it flipped, but if Chad wouldn't have brought those out, I would have never had that brain bug of like, is Luke Cage the first like comic book character to get his name and his superhero name like
you brought that
on
up.
the book? Like,
Mhm.
that's fucking tight.
Yeah,
Like, that's a
when you
that's a
say
man-
they were
man
flipped, I'm
flex.
curious what because I missed the show, but I want to
Oh,
watch it
oh,
replay.
go
But
ahead.
a little bit
Yeah,
when you
it
say that you
became-
thought they were flipped, what do you mean?
It started as Luke Cage,
Oh,
Power
Iron Man and Power Fist, or
and then became
Man,
Power
Power
Man and
Fist.
Iron Fist. So
I
if
think
you
it should
look-
be Iron Man and Power Fist.
Well,
Well, no. I always thought Power Man was Iron Fist, and Iron Fist was. I thought it was flipped because
Oh,
it's just
yeah,
the
yeah.
way their characters are.
Yeah, well, I mean,
when I was a
and
kid.
you'd see Luke Cage with like his fist coming out, and then Iron Fist would be in the back doing like karate chops, you know? And I was
right.
like,
You see the big fist,
I'm
and
like,
you're
okay,
like,
the
yeah,
black
that's
dude's
Iron
black
Fist.
dude's Iron Fist, yeah, and this guy in yellow is a Power Man. Okay, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense, you know?
That's what I thought when I was a kid.
I know I'm sidetracking, but have you seen this issue of Iron Man number
Oh.
232?
Oh, it's a great cover though.
It's all Barry Windsor Smith in this issue.
Oh, okay.
I
that's
love
how-
wow.
that.
I can
Good
tell
work.
looking at that cover.
BWS, but
That
kind of looks like Bob
costume,
Layton too. But
I love that
Nice.
costume. That's the
It-
triangle. That's the
I love the
chest,
triangle.
right?
Yeah, I
the
love the triangle
yeah.
chest.
Let's see if I can open it up. I don't care if it gets ripped or anything because it's old, but yeah, it's old Barry Smith.
Jeez, he
that's
was so
cool.
good. He's still so good, but yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he drew his own sound effects?
Yes.
Yeah, I would think so.
But Billy, I mean, you knew of the Wolverine Spider-Man storyline.
Dude, that's one of my favorites, dude.
Yeah.
It's,
So I was like,
it's,
yeah,
that-
go Billy.
that's
This is
well,
dope, man.
Dude, honestly, when Spider-Man started getting popular in the movies, it kind of pissed me off because I was like, man, I've been towing the line for Spidey when it was super fucking uncool. Like, and now he's like the most popular fucking character in the MCU on the planet and shit. And like, I was this close to almost getting. Remember how they had the spider
Damn.
symbol, the round
Dude,
one with his
Cage.
eyes?
Oh yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking
I almost got that tattooed on me. I'm so glad I didn't.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. Too. That's cool. Look at that.
That is
Oh,
such
it
a
focused
cool
in
image.
nice.
Holy shit, that's
Yeah.
badass.
He's like so. He's blowing
Dude,
up.
look at his rib cage, dude, coming out the back. That's fucking so dope.
Yeah,
And
it's
everything
pretty
and how
nuts.
he puts speed lines through the character to
Yep.
I like how you can see the
show the
the
light.
leg that's in farthest away through the arm too.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, let's see.
Cool book.
See if there's anything else I can share.
And Cable and Deadpool, they teamed up a lot actually. It was actually a lot. So that was the
Iron
valid
Man
one.
5000.
Yeah, but can you sit there and name off any
Like an
Power-
iconic
Daredevil or
storyline from it?
Cable that was like stand out though?
Yeah.
No, I guess you're right.
So Jason, back when I was younger, you know, obviously like Wolverine was like one of the most popular characters, and I was a big time Spidey lover, and that comic book was awesome because it was my nerd argument when everybody go, oh, who's stronger, who would win a fight, you know, classic argument. I'm like, well, between Spider-Man and Spidey, we've already seen what would happen. It was a literal stalemate, like at the end of the comic. Like Spidey could have fucking snapped Wolverine's neck, you know, like cutting off oxygen to his brain, and it's like without your brain, like you can't like regenerate from there. And Wolverine had his claws to his throat where he was gonna pop it through his head, and they were just like, all right, you know,
Yeah.
stalemate, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, there's a comic with definitive like
Now-
who would win a fight. Like
Now that's back
stalemate.
then.
Yeah.
If you even say that argument now, though, where they made Wolverine almost indestructible.
Yeah. We can grow back from a finger and shit.
Yeah.
This has to be a
There you
reprint.
go.
I was a big
Beautiful
fan
cover.
of. I was a big
Look at
when
that.
they first did the Bone Claw Wolverine. I was a big fan of it.
What?
Dude, that was such a crazy
Kick
cool
game.
reveal. Well, look, dude, well, it was a cool reveal for a way for them to depower him.
Oh, dude, no,
You know?
Well, he was. What I liked about it was. This is before they mangled his face and tried to put the adamantium back. they go and they do this thing to where he's like the adamantium was so heavy in his body and his body compensated for the weight that without it he was faster and his metabolism was actually way stronger and his healing
because it
factor
didn't have
was
to
insane.
fight the metal because he didn't have to fight the metal all the time. That it was like almost in a
Exactly.
constant state of rejection.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so and then like he did something with Silver Samurai and Silver Samurai gives him the clan sword because Silver Samurai is like the brother or the southern or whatever of
you know what clan
of
clan
of the
they have these white hats
of the of
Silver
like
hats.
he's like the brother of the chick that he
White
married
silver hats.
who ends up getting murdered and like or ends up getting poisoned and like Wolverine like 45 or something like that.
Oh,
And so he gets the Silver Samurai sword, and he's like traveling around the United States on his fucking motorcycle with a samurai sword, like fighting like Cyber and these old enemies that came back. Since they heard that he lost his adamantium, all the enemies that were after it,
Yeah, they're
now that
trying
he
to
lost
get
it, they wanted to go after him, and it was really cool. Adam Kubert was doing that art at the time.
Adam Kubert.
And it had real cool potential, and then they didn't know what to do with it, and they just shit the bed on it.
Yeah, I was a bit checked out because I was already moved on mostly to Image titles at that time. I think.
See, and
'Cause I think that was after.
I had moved on to manga at that point. But see, and that's
Yeah.
weird. They didn't call it manga though because since it was being put out by like Mirage and
Dark
Studio
Horse
Focus,
was putting
it
that
was
shit
just-
out.
Yeah, it was like I just called it Japanese comics. I didn't even know what the word manga like.
Yeah, I didn't hear that word. I
Japanime.
didn't hear anime for a long
Yeah,
time.
it was just like no. I read those.
Yeah, it was
I
always
read the,
Japanimation.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
read the black and white
Japanimation.
Japanese comics. Like
Yeah.
Xenon and fucking Guyver.
Yeah, like it's from Japan. You're like, okay, I guess
I didn't even know how to
comic book.
pronounce. I didn't even know how to pronounce Nausicaa. Like it was just like it's like
You still don't.
now. Sorry, Nausicaa.
Dude, honestly, that was
because
one
I called it
thing-
Nausicaa. Yeah, for so
one
long.
thing that
as a
stopped
kid.
me from collecting manga was the pronunciations and the names. I was like, I can't pronounce this, so I just didn't get it.
Well, it was hard for me to remember their names. I would have to keep flipping back. I'm like, who is this person?
That's Silver Samurai. That.
Yeah, look at this.
I didn't think he
Nice.
showed so much skin.
30 cents? Damn.
It's like this is
Well, it's a
business.
reprint, right?
Sleeves are coming off.
Is that
Yep.
the OG? Okay, I was gonna say better.
Yeah, I have a racks on my walls with just like beat up old books that I
Yeah.
buy.
Just to read and enjoy.
Oh, they're
Yep.
they're reader copies. Is what
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get them from my friend's comic shop. So I got like stacks of like really beat to shit.
Yeah, but they're still cool.
But those are I mean they're really the best
Yep.
books to read. There's so much good shit in there.
I love Marvel Team Up. It's such a great series.
Yeah. Spider-Man and the Wasp. What a great team.
Yeah, what a combination. It's
Yeah,
weird.
what a cool combination.
Spider-Man and Wasp. and-
Dan's emoting, crying purple eyes. Wait,
Where's
is
that,
is that the laughing one or the?
It's Purple Rain, man.
Oh, it's
Fireman
the,
5000.
it's the sad
Purple
one.
eyes crying. You know?
We love you, Dan.
I don't even know who this villain is. Demon Rampage.
Never
Demon
heard of him.
Rampage. He's
Rampage.
that
The hell?
Rampage guy that's a demon.
Is that who is that? Is that
That one.
whatever the Batroc the Leaper?
Yeah, I have no idea who that
Guy in
is.
purple.
Yeah,
It's a nice Spidey butt.
yeah. Nice
Yeah.
butt.
Pretty good butt.
All right. I don't want to like take up.
I would
all
love
the-
to them do like I don't know if they've done it before, but have like one of these old like D-list villains and shit. And he's like, I'm retired, man. I'm like just running a store downtown or whatever. Got a convenience store or some shit. And then something happens to where he has to like do some kind of go on some kind of adventure and become a good guy or something. But he's like has like some shit power. You know? Like one of those old like characters that do it. Like what was it? One that you showed earlier in the Power Man and Iron Fist, the mace, and the guy has a mace hand, and you're like, look out, guys, it's the mace, and it's just a dude with a fucking mace hand.
Yeah, he's a Spidey character, isn't he?
But I don't know. I just saw
you
on the
think of
cover
the
when you were
claw?
showing this stuff earlier on Matt's stream, and it's like that's all you needed to be a villain back in the day. I got a fucking mace hand. He's the mace. Watch out, everybody! Like, so now 30 years later, the mace is like 60 years old, and what does he do? I don't know, man. He's like changing brakes or some shit, and then something happens at his shop or something, like maybe like a employee or something happens, and he has to like go and like stop some bad guys, and he's like the fucking mace, like this old villain that not a villain anymore and shit, but he has to be like a good guy to like do something, you know.
Dude, you like channeled some Sandler in there because it reminded me of that old SNL skit where he's just like, I'm crazy tetherball head. I'm here for some candy. Give me some candy.
Did I mention I was crazy?
I'm crazy? Look at me. I'm crazy beer bottle on my forehead, man. Give me the candy.
Crazy newspaper face.
I
got a newspaper for a face. Now give me some
that crazy?
That's hilarious.
I'm screwdriver hand, man.
No, I was thinking of they did the death of Superman on Saturday Night Live, and they had all the heroes, and it was Sinbad was hosting, and he was playing Black Lightning, and everybody's like, "Well, you're not on the guest list." He's like, "Whatever, Superman and me, we were like this." You know? He's like, "Nah, you're not on the list." He's like, "But I'm Black Lightning, man."
Nowadays, that would not be funny.
Yeah, nobody would get that joke because he got his own show.
Well, they also
even Black Vulcan.
Anyway.
You know what I thought was stupid was like I wanted to be called Supervolt.
I wanted to be called Supervolt. That Black Lightning skit for Robot Chicken. Yeah, he's like, I didn't even come up with that name. That's Superman's idea. I wanted to be called Supervolt.
That was like, was
Black
it
Lightning.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier when they're like, oh man, he's Black Falcon. No man, he's just a Falcon. I was like, dude, Black Falcon sounds dope as hell. Like,
And they showed him
Like
in the
Black
little red like Speedo spandex and the wings. He's like, man, my costume sucks. Like,
What'd you just say, Odin?
I said Black Falcon sounds cool, like Black Phantom.
Oh, okay.
Is that
What? I thought I heard the Black Phantom in there.
you want to make something cool, just put
Cool
black
name.
in front of it. You know?
Although
exactly.
somebody just put
Black
out
Phantom.
another CG guy just released a picture of the Phantom Curse, which is another skull guy.
Hive mind.
I'm a fan of the ethereal spirit type people, you might say. I have an affinity towards the Uriel, the spirit, the phantom, the specter.
What are you talking about?
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Something that has cast off its corporeal form and exists on an
Corporeal form.
ethereal
That's
level.
so deep, Billy.
He's a big fan of
Phantom, the
Phantom.
specter, the ghost.
Spectre.
gentleman.
So I
Gentleman Ghost.
in 2005, I was pitching the Black Phantom as a TV series, and one of my stops was BET Animation, and Dennis Cohen was in charge of it. He was famous for drawing Luke Cage, Power Man, and Iron Fist. Anyway, so I'm pitching the Black Phantom, and the first question he asked me is, so if he takes his mask off, is he black?
Oh my god.
And I went, yes, he can be. And
That's almost
I totally rewrote the origin of the Black Phantom right there and then on the fly in front
So
of
he
him.
is a black guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well,
Now we all know.
But
But
wouldn't
now-
the question? No, go ahead. Go ahead.
but now maybe he isn't though.
Maybe he's
Maybe
a
he's just in blackface.
Well, he has this ability to change like a chameleon. So if he touches a dead guy, he can pick up the identity of the dead guy. But he's done it so many times that it psychologically has messed with him that he now no longer knows who he really is.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
It's a loophole.
He
That's a
just
good one. I'm
knows
going to
that
have a super villain.
he just
named
knows
Crazy
that
Little
he's
Bob
this.
Friends.
He just knows that he's this superhero, but he forgot who his origin is, like where he came
New
from.
identity.
Hmm.
He has a new identity.
It's a good way to say I don't know his origin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have the origin, but I'll probably draw it and then have somebody release it after I die. Like, There you go.
That's not dark or grim at all.
But his sidekick's
So
gonna
Dan-
be in the next Black Phantom story.
Is that be released while you're alive, or
Yes.
Oh.
So I posted
Jeez.
a picture of the character on my Twitter feed. Named Child Trafficker Feed. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Used
to be a supervillain named Crazy Pedophile for Hands.
Who, if you could pick like an animation team that I might know, like the name of, like who would have wanted to animate? What team would you have want to do Black Phantom?
Well, in 2005,
Rocket.
I was ready to take anything I could, you know.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like right now, like if it was like like a dream
You have
team,
your dream team,
you'd
yeah.
you'd be taken on obviously as a creative director and like fucking head. of
your
the-
Make-A-Wish team
like,
since you're
yeah,
dying?
like, you could pick a studio, and it could be overseas studio or
Yeah,
domestic.
I haven't drawn a blank on it. I think they
Studio
were
Ghibli.
known for Evangelion, but I can't remember their name offhand.
Oh, Sunrise.
No, I'll have to think of it later. But
it production
it's
IP?
definitely a Korean studio.
Doctor Movie or something.
Well, they're called DR
Or
Movie.
sorry, yeah. There's another one. Nausicaa, Doctor Movie.
I actually,
Animation. I know you used to work for them. I was like,
I actually went and worked there in the house off and on for 3 years in Korea. They were known for Aeon Flux back in the day. But the head of the studio asked me to stay. He's like, "Hey, you wanna stay here working in Korea?" He goes, "You're the first American I've ever seen that can draw mech really well." So I'm like, "Am I like a zoo animal? Like you want to keep me because I'm like
The archive.
Stay in your cage, American. Draw the Mac.
I just noticed this thing that Dan said. He's like, I'm gonna have a villain named Crazy Pedophile for Hands, and he'll hang out with his sidekick henchman named Child Trafficker Feet.
Dan, you should do your comic. That sounds like a great idea with those characters.
Yeah, I'm sure it would sell.
I think it's going to be in the kaiju book.
You could do it on Fun My Comic Book.
Yeah, they're kaiju, just to add to the.
Yeah, that's going to be in his kaiju book. They're going to be the kaijus. They're going
Right.
to traffic the kaijus, the child kaijus.
Did
You know
any?
what's-
The Kaya Hebrews.
You know what's hard for me, Billy, is like today's stream. We talked about like so many different things, and I could sit there and go, I know that dude. I know that dude. I met that dude. And it's really hard for me to not say that stuff.
Sorry if you did not name bomb. Make it
Yeah,
really
because
close.
like the guy that played Cable in the
After Blue
Deadpool
Diamond
movie,
Phillips.
Yeah.
I met him. Yeah, after
Josh
Lou Diamond
Brolin.
Phillips.
Yeah.
I met Josh Brolin.
Was he eating with Lou Diamond Phillips in the
No,
kitchen?
I was coming out of the bathroom.
That was
There
a
were-
that was a hallucination.
It was a Saturday morning, and WB was shut down, except they were filming Hail Caesar, and I was just walking around the.
I remember you
the
telling this story before.
The studio,
Mhm.
and yeah, and Josh Brolin was walking walking to the bathroom as I was walking out, and that's when I ran into him. So, yeah, dude, like I've met so many people, it's crazy. Like,
Did you ask him if he needed any help?
no fucking way. He's got that all under control, man. He's a grown
Wondering
man.
if you need some assistance, sir.
I'm
I
Josh
ain't-
Brolin, motherfucker.
I ain't gay.
Oh, you don't have to be.
Oh, it's
Straight.
just helping
Flesh
someone
on
out.
flesh action.
No, he was walking by and he said hi, and I said howdy, and he stopped like right there.
She
And
was
he's-
like straight out of the.
and
Beast
he
Boys.
looks at me, goes,
He said howdy, and you said hi. Fuck.
"No, I said
Yeah,
howdy," and he
he
You
goes,
said howdy. Yeah.
"I
He
said
said
howdy."
Yeah, that's
And
what I'm
he
saying.
goes-
You said howdy.
He said
And he
hi.
goes, "You're from Texas, ain't you?" And I was like, "Yes, I am."
Yes, sir, I am.
He said, "You're
Sure
darn
am.
tootin'."
Darn you.
Dude, I've been going to San Diego Comic-Con and dealing and working in the animation industry for so long that I can't help but having run into all these people.
Yeah, you know.
My mama thinks that my mind is gone.
Like
Then he twirled his mustache and started chasing rabbits. Pew, 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 pew.
It's so, like I said, it's so hard for me to talk when I want to go, oh yeah, I met and I got this story and I.
But see, now you can say you met Billy Basco.
Oh my
Dude, I met Jason Frog G-Man.
That's right. You don't know my last name.
Jason Frog G-Man.
You don't know. All we know is the question mark.
Unhinged Jason.
Unhinged Jason.
It's a question mark.
Jason Anthrax Frog G-Man.
Anthrax Frog G-Man. Scotty.
But really, they're all just the same. They're not
guys.
any different.
Everyone
They're
poops.
just dudes.
They put their they put their pants on.
The queen wiped her
3
ass
legs at a
just like
time.
anybody else.
Well, maybe different techniques, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a Norm joke. He's like, George Clooney's a dapper feller, but he still whacks off like the rest of us.
See, and I had an incident with George Clooney the same day.
There you go.
He could prove he whacks off like the rest of us.
Yeah. Yep. Did you tell him that? I heard from Norm McDonald.
He was speeding by in his convertible when he waved at me, so I didn't have time to ask.
Whoa, he waved at you.
He did on the backlight at WB.
You could have yelled it. Like, hey, George.
Which, if any of you guys ever get a chance to do a tour at WB, it is well worth paying the walking tour price.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see way more than most people will on that walking tour.
I think people should pay to have walking tours of my house.
My wife said it felt really weird walking around with me at the studio the times I've been there with her. She goes, because everybody stops and they crane their neck to look. They're on these golf carts and on these tours, and I'm like, just to see if you're somebody. Good day, y'all. Hockey.
Hockey? Is hockey back?
Hey,
Are you back,
no.
are you back in Australia?
That's you remember MASH, right? That was one of the sayings. He's like, horse hockey.
Oh yeah. The old man would say. That's a bunch of horse hockey.
That's a bunch of
I
horse
never got
hockey.
into MASH.
Dude, it's the first trans person ever on TV as a
now I'm
character.
gonna go watch it.
Yeah.
I think back then though, they
don't
just
want to
called
miss that
them
action.
cross-dressers. Yeah.
Yeah, it was called
Yeah, that was just cross-dressing. It was different. He was trying to get out of the.
He was obviously trying to get out to show that dressing up like a lady was crazy. So I don't understand.
And he had to keep doing it because that was he had to keep showing
Dan
it.
was committed to the bit.
Yep.
That he had the doctor cut his penis off and fashion it into a vagina. But other than that,
I don't remember that
Klinger.
scene, even though I never watched it.
Klinger is a great character. And you know the guy that played Radar O'Reilly? He had a gimp hand with deformed fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was really good at hiding it if you watch the show. Like,
oh
wow.
Well, now you can go back. Now it's worth going back and watching. And
look at this crazy weird gimp hand.
include us in the conversation, Jason.
I'm just trying to read what Plagle said.
Oh, well, Plagle said
San
San
Diego
Diego
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con
What's almost there?
wants
They want him
back,
back.
I guess.
Status.
They finally
got it.
sent me some stuff to re-up my pro status. So
That's dope.
yeah,
I know that must be hurting for people.
just waiting for
Damn! Dang!
Wow.
That came out wrong. I'm sorry. That came out.
Hold on, what?
They must be really hard up. They're hitting up Plagle. I mean, I'm just saying.
It's getting a little late for Jay. I think he's getting a little punchy. Damn.
No,
At the bottom of the barrel here.
No, it's not.
Who was it? What
It's
group
not
of
that he's
guys?
it's not that he's not talented. For them, to me, them reaching out to people. Like,
Don't
if it was
try.
anybody-
Anyway, what was it? What was it? Chad?
It
What were you
was
gonna say?
There was a
Yeah,
group
too
of
late.
indie guys though that started a side convention at a hotel across from the convention center in a
San Diego.
in a lobby because they had a hard time getting tables at the convention, so they just started their own at the same time.
It's smart for the hotel to actually let them do it anyway because it's right there. They're going to get business if people come in. So yeah, that's smart to let them.
That's what I was telling. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and if people are staying at the hotel for the con, it's more people right there. Go ahead.
That's why I was telling EVS what he should do is go to the big Florida con. What's the MegaCon? And just put on a convention at the hotel across from it or right near it for all the indie guys. Dude, I think I'm going to have an aneurysm or something from that, Billy.
I know. Billy does
that. The fuck?
Put up Pikachu or something. Don't put that up. Yeah, there you go.
But I thought I heard talk that some people are going to do that. Maybe it was just talk.
They should.
I know.
It's just talk for now.
Specifically in Florida.
I heard PTP was trying to do something like that before, and they were like cock blocking them. That they had to like clear, like I guess the hotel had to ask MegaCon or some shit. And
no.
Or something
really?
Like it was something that they just I guess the hotel asked their permission or some shit. I don't know, but PTP was trying to do either across the street or next door.
Yeah,
they should though.
Just to get together and the I guess the hotel was just like nah, because they just wanted to rent a room. You know, and
just
have a bunch of CG people.
Just tell him Del Keown is on the guest list, and that's it.
So let's start throwing some names around here.
Yeah, just tell him George Clooney's gonna be there and Fabio.
Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
And Borland.
And Borland.
And Boleyn.
And Boleyn's gonna be there.
Dude, seriously, like, just put it on at the same time as MegaCon.
Yeah, I think that's why PTP was doing the Tampa Bay Con instead, because if he was saying that's like the up and coming one. Yeah, that's the one that all the cool kids are going to start going to.
Oh yeah, that's what he says.
You know what I mean? So,
which
it kind of makes sense because even like when I was in Chicago, there was like the Wizard had the Chicago Comic Con. Right. You know what I mean, that they bought, but then like after like C2E2 started taking off and becoming really popular, and now like C2E2 is kind of the cooler one to go to that everybody goes to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did Wizard just like die?
Yes.
I don't know, man. Did they?
As far as I know, they haven't been.
Yeah, pretty much
that.
they did. Yeah, they pretty much just died out, and it's just that con now. It's just by that name.
Yeah, they just do.
I missed that magazine. They should bring.
Because I don't even think they don't even have a web mag or anything. I think they quit. They gave up.
Yeah.
They stopped.
Dude,
the magazine kept getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and then it just went out of business. I think.
I think they were the key to everything, though, as far as the superstardom of comics in the '90s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
You know, they started off
for comics.
Their intentions were pure. Then later
Wizard.
it became, and Rob.
Well, it's one of those things where they're like, let's take a look at what Joe Quesada is cooking up with Jimmy Palmiotti, or something, and then they do this interview and they show all these flash images. And I mean, as kids, or whatever age we were, just eating that shit up because it's like it was like a little inside baseball. It was fun. It was kind of like what Stan Lee tried to do with Marvel, but it was like all encompassing.
I guess Wizard World is dead.
But
they
Wizard
merged with Fan Expo.
Later it became, I guess, it came out that they were like, you had to pay for certain reviews and shit in the Wizard, and it started becoming a big problem.
Yeah.
Dude, you want to hear something funny? I used to show up at Wizard World conventions and just set up at empty tables at the convention center. I would get a badge.
Hijacking boots.
I would get a badge from somebody if they had any extra badges. Walk in and just set up an empty booth that nobody showed up to, and set up tables, and they never ever said a thing. Ever.
Dude, you know what? Last year I went to the Lightbox, the art expo in Pasadena. It's kind of like the bigger one that's kind of like
that's right
there and do art talks and stuff like that. And the first day, Riot Games was like right in the dead center of the showroom floor on a corner. And then second day, they moved their booth so they could be closer to a bunch of the other Riot artists. So like I took me and like my business partner and the 3 artists that we had with us that actually work with me at our tiny little company. And I was like, let's sit down right here, right now. And I put all our business cards out, and I just started like talking to people, and they're like, oh, well, that's awesome. I'm like, dude, I think that we just stole an $1,800 booth for a day. Because like people were coming by, they were there for day one. They're like, wait, are you with Riot? I'm like, no. But if you want to talk, like, I'll look over your portfolio if you'd like and give you a portfolio review. And they're like, oh, will you really?
gosh.
And they're like, thank you. And then like all of a sudden Blizzard's coming by, and they're like, yeah, do you think I can get your business cards? We're part of the outsourcing program and stuff like that. So it was like, this is the best theft I've ever done. Working, like,
stick it to the man.
Well, I'm glad to know me and Billy are
Smart
in the
move.
same boat. Stealing tables.
And I wasn't sure. I'm like, is this right? Should I be doing this? And
Next
I even
step
had
is to bring your own.
Well, I even had a couple of people ask me. They're like, "Oh, dude, I didn't know that you were going to be there and have a booth." I was all, "Neither did I."
You surprised to me too.
Yep, I would just bring my portfolio and any items I had to sell and just take over a table, and nobody ever kicked me out.
That's so, I know. Dude, as long as you look like you're supposed to be there, people usually won't ask. Oh, dude, this was like actually the kicker too. Like while we were there, this guy came by and he was like, "Hey, will you sign my program book?" Next to like the map, so it was like he was going through the whole show and like getting all the artists to like sign the book next to where their booth was, on the number. And he hands it to me, and I'm like, I don't know where I am on here. He's like, oh, you're right here. I was like, of course I am, as I should be.
Yeah,
right here, 701. Bam. There you go.
Here's 80s. Billy always talks about his business partner like 90s gays would say my partner every chance they got.
Well,
I don't have any partners but my wife. That's it.
Yeah.
There you
Well,
go.
yeah. It's weird because it's like sometimes when people ask that, like, it's like, oh, I'm business partners with like this Ukrainian woman that like we went to school together and stuff, and then I always have to explain. I'm like, she's married to like a guy in the Air Force, and like it's just like we're partners, and like
Yeah, but he's in the Air
peers.
Force. He's flying planes. She's not.
Yeah,
She's flying Billy.
No, I think he's in like cybersecurity.
Oh. Yeah, he
What a
could really
nerd.
mess you up.
We're getting some power ups in this music, Jay.
I heard it too. I was like,
I heard-
wait, what?
I hear the ding.
Just in time to call it a night.
That's true. I gotta go.
Got to
speak-
power up just to power down.
I gotta go speak at a high school tomorrow.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Hey, nice. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Gonna plug Black Phantom.
Make sure you tell him you know Billy Basco.
I know Jason, Billy Basco, JBot Vasquez, Odin Dasco, and Billy Basco,
And Dan Plagle.
and Dan Plagle, Blue
he's in the-
Dan.
You'll
Hey,
win the
it-
power.
it's a Christian school too. It's Christian high school, so damn.
Oh, then
boob.
don't mention bar. Whatever you
Damn
do.
boobs. Don't mention Matt Barr.
Just get struck by lightning.
I cast thee out.
There can only be one.
All right, guys. I think that's a good spot to end it. Thanks everybody to coming in. Boy, I might chat for a little bit afterwards before I go to bed. So,
Oh,
but, for all
thank
you
you.
normies,
thank you, Jay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit the deck.
Thanks for having me, Jay.
anytime.
Thanks for having me, Jay. Yeah.
Thanks
Billy-
for going on to Jay's channel,
Next
Billy.
week,
Please go to my
10
website.
p.m. You go to
Right there.
ChadTownsend.com, Odin Dasco. Follow him on Twitter, on Instagram. Billy's on Twitter, Ghost Monster with a 3 instead of an E because you got to make shit difficult. Unhinged Entertainment on YouTube, on Twitter. Are you on Instagram, Jason?
I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Minds, Getter,
Getter.
Grinder.
Minds and Getter.
Grinder. He's
Grinder.
everywhere, man.
How about OnlyFans, Jason?
That is the one I'm working on.
I've been on Twitter since 2011, and someone got the fucking E before I could fucking get it.
You know what? Comic Skate should just take over some OnlyFans pages and just
It's like a booth at a convention. Just take them
be
over.
stupid about it.
Of course, I just got 80s. It's not Saturday, man. It's freaking Wednesday, dude. Like,
It's midnight in
it's
Texas.
Wednesday. We gotta go to work, man. Like, shit.
5 o'clock
I think this
somewhere.
is the longest stream you've ever done, too.
It
3
is.
hours
Yeah.
and 15 minutes.
No,
Yeah,
it's
a
not.
long one.
No, there was one where Dan and Chad started talking about G.I. Joe for like 3 hours.
Yes, that was pretty bad.
It was fun though. It was fun just to be here. I just checked out. I just was here, just listening.
I know
to
he
them
was.
talk.
It's
It
like
was
4
great.
in the morning, and he's ready to go to bed. Like, good night, y'all.
All right.
Wrap
Good
this
night,
up so you
everybody.
can go to sleep. Hours later.
See y'all later.
Hey guys, JBot here. Let me tell you about MightyBotStudio.com. Now, MightyBotStudio.com is a hub for all of my content, including my YouTube, my Instagram, and also my Twitter. On top of that, we have a MightyBot Studio store where you can go and order yourself a pint glass, you can get a mug, we have multiple hoodies, t-shirts, and hat designs. So make sure if you guys haven't checked it out already, visit MightyBotStudio.com.